What's going on? I am Nando.
And I am DJ.
And I am Diggins.
And this is mostly nitpicking. Kentucky edition, I guess. I don't know. Foghorn Leghorn is back from last week's Looney Tunes episode.
I say.
Now, I might be a simple Kentucky podcaster, but I do believe that we have got a fine episode on our hands for y'all this fine evening.
It's beautiful.
That's great. I mean, I do think we have a great episode. Man, could this movie have been saved by the inclusion of a random Looney Tune? You know? What if that's,
Yes!
You know, if this was part of the Warner serververse or whatever, and just like randomly, like Warner Brothers was like, we're going to keep this whole thing going that we created in the Looney Tunes movie, where it's like some of our characters are just in the wrong movie for fun. You know, instead of fucking all the Suicide Squads, it's the Iron Giant is in there now instead of the Weasel or something. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say any attempt to improve this movie probably would have improved it. To give a little teaser about where I'm at.
Yeah.
Any attempt, no matter how misguided.
Yeah, for sure.
What if Warner Brothers released the versions of the movies that the Looney Tunes made? You know, like, what if you could watch, like, you could buy Fury Road on DVD or whatever, Blu-ray, and it's the same movie, except Wile E. Coyote is there for a couple minutes. It'd be pretty good, right? You know? Get to watch Austin Powers, but instead of Mini-Me, it's Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, I'd legit watch that.
Me too. It'd be kind of fun. Like, I feel like there was
It depends. Are they just the scenes that we see in Space Jam 2, or are they in the whole movie in those roles?
It depends. Yeah, whole movie in those roles. So I don't know what the Wile E. Coyote would be up to, because he's just like one of the cannon fodder dudes. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, Mini-Me, it's him in the movie for the rest of the movie, and Sylvester and like characters that have multiple scenes.
That random dude who is not actually in the rest of the movie, that one Looney Tune, appears to be Max in the movie. So that replacement would be pretty major.
That's true. That would be great. I mean, the Casablanca one would be huge. Kind of. Not really, actually. Well,
it would be pretty big. I mean, Sam is not like a major... He's a very important character in that movie, but he's not like a major role.
Yeah. Game of Thrones would be really interesting. Oh my god, can you imagine Foghorn Leghorn, like, sexily standing up out of a bathtub to seduce Dario Naharis, who's come to her tent to kill her? That'd be pretty good. Man,
I just want to see an awkward sex scene with Jon Snow where we get to see his ass plowing that chicken.
Oh, you bastard. Oh, you bastard.
I'll say. It would be very, very good.
The guys are the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. I think if they knew this, if this was something that we'd planned, and like, I would, it would be kind of fun. Honestly, they could still do this if one of the episodes of Rick and Morty was Rick and Morty and the Tasmanian Devil. Just like the adventure that happened right before they dropped him off. And they get to talk about Space Jam, kind of, and like explore the serververse. That seems like the kind of thing Rick and Morty would do.
Yeah, but it also seems like the kind of thing WB would never, ever, ever let them do.
That's true.
Yeah. That's actually an interesting point where, like, so obviously you wouldn't get Looney Tunes in this because it's not Warner Brothers. But I think this is Paramount, right? Is Paramount, like, who owns Hasbro, who owns this? Are they, like, the overlord?
Something like that. It's not Warner Brothers. It's a different one.
I can't trace all these shell companies back to one of the 6 remaining corporations in America.
Yeah, this is all also under Yum Brands, which is a division of PepsiCo or something. I mean, it's a toy company, so it really could be anything.
So, regardless, right? Like, let's just say it's like it is just Hasbro. Like, what if they did like the big Hasbro movie? So it's like G.I. Joe and Transformers and Monopoly and Battleship,
Rock'em Sock'em Robots, maybe.
Yeah. And now it's just it's like the Space Jam commercial, but it's the Hasbro commercial. Like, we're just skipping to the logical conclusion of all of this.
I mean, that sounds fucking awesome, to be completely honest. Like, those things all mash up great.
Frankly, amazed they haven't made that already.
I think it's just because they keep trying to make 2 good G.I. Joe movies in a row and can't even make one. Yeah, actually, that's not fair. I think the second one of the new ones, like the one with The Rock, was okay. But
I want to go back and watch that now because, like, I just want to see where this has gone because we didn't have time to do our deep dive.
Yeah,
where like we preview 10,000 movies.
Oh, when they make the sequel to this, we'll do it.
And then I'll
Or when
finally ever see those movies.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the first one's weird. It's okay. It's fine. It's it's by the guy who made The Mummy, whatever his name is.
Okay.
He has like a really
Mummyman.
the
Eugene
first
Mummyman.
one. Yeah, exactly. It's by him. And it's like a very kind of mummy-esque, like super light, silly action movie. I don't think it quite works, and it does a lot of like, whoa, what was it like when Cobra was just Joseph Gordon-Levitt before the explosion?
Yeah.
Like, so that part's pretty dumb. But then in the second one, it seems like they really did go like, you know what? It was pretty dumb that we did that. So let's just make him Cobra. And he won't be Joseph Gordon-Levitt anymore, and he'll have the helmet on, and they'll have the little logo, which we saw in this a little bit. But like, it was, the problem with that one was The Rock was fine in it, but he was just The Rock. And Bruce Willis was, I would say, pretty bad in it. This was right around when Bruce Willis was really falling apart. And then the main character was just some guy. And none of them were able to quite match what I think was pretty good energy from Channing Tatum and Marlon Wayans in the first one.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that Bruce Willis phoned in a performance?
I was going to say,
wow.
this is the part of like The Hobbit where Sauron is like, I'll take the evil circle back to my place and guard it. And you're like, oh, this is where it happened. This is when Sauron turned. It's like, I'm sure they were like, Bruce Willis, we'll make it really easy for you. You can shoot the whole thing in your living room. And he was like, I can shoot every movie in my living room from now on. Right? Like, I do believe that. This came out, I think, after Cop Out, which is definitely, that one's probably.
Oh, God. Remember Cop Out?
I do.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, really? It's that one. Remember when Tracy Morgan's in that meme and he goes, no. That's that movie.
It'd be a good movie for the pod, Cop Out.
It's so boring.
I vaguely remember this.
It came out in like 2000 and, 10. It was like a buddy cop thriller. Like, I mean, that was what it was going for. It's by Kevin Smith. It's these two. It's Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. And it's where Kevin Smith's big, like, Bruce Willis sucks story comes from, is working with them on this movie. So I feel like have you never heard that story? About why Kevin Smith hates Bruce Willis?
God, now that you're, like, talking about it, it sounds familiar, but, like, I can't recall any details.
Yeah, like, the details are pretty much all the things you expect about Bruce Willis. He's lazy, he's a jerk, he doesn't read the lines the right way, like, you know. That's all true.
Why would he?
Yeah.
He's Bruce fucking Willis, right?
Yeah.
He ain't got time for yo shit.
Yeah. He is, he's awful. I hate him. But he was bad in that. Very, very bad. And then I think G.I. Joe, the one where he's in it, came out after that. I want to say probably in 2015, maybe. It was right after, it was 2013. It was when The Rock was like, I'll fix every franchise. And then they were like, almost every franchise. And he was like, yeah, actually, that's fair. But I don't know. This is It's
some are not fixable. Well, you can't start your G.I. Joe movie with, like, they're all dead and, you know, Cobra won.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a pretty inauspicious start to your G.I. Joe franchise.
It's very strange because within the second movie is an awesome ninja bit. Like, all the shit in the second movie where the ninjas are doing their thing, like, that whole story is pretty good. And it's better than this. Like, it's really weird how they... But I understand the thought process in Hollywood. It's just like, well, actually, we kind of got that ninja stuff right. So let's make a movie just about the ninjas. But instead, that wasn't good in this. But yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. DJ, have you seen the other ones? Like the other G.I. Joes?
Probably like the one time in theaters, and like that was it. Like I probably never like re-upped.
Do you remember who plays the blind master in the other one of these?
I don't.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good one. Oh, it's a good one. Don't look it up. Okay.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah. All right. But guys, we're talking about everyone's favorite movie, G.I. Joe: The Retaliation. No, just kidding. We're not talking about old. I will talk about it at the end because it's interesting. Not really.
I am on pins and needles to hear you talk about old.
Yeah, so that'll be great. But then, we're We're going to do this one. What's this movie called? I already forgot.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes,
G.I. Joe
colon,
Origin.
G.I. Joe Origin. Yeah. So we're going to talk about Snake Eyes. Hooray. DJ, do you want to lead us into this one?
Yeah, so I got the IMDb up, and I would love for you gentlemen to give me an IMDb summary. I don't know who is supposed to go first.
I think it's Diggins, because I was in charge last week. Yeah.
I lost last game, so I get to pick.
Right.
I'm going to have Nando go first.
Okay. All right. Before he was a G.I. Joe, follow the adventures of, I guess his name is just Snake Eyes. Follow the adventures of Snake Eyes as he trains with a clan that might be connected to a network of global terrorists trying to destroy the world. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, Diggins.
See the origin story of Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe's expert ninja warrior. As he trains with the Arishikage clan to battle a mysterious enemy in league with Cobra.
Oh, man. Like, Diggins, you had it, and then you said too many words. Like,
But did I still have it enough to win?
Yeah, I mean, well, what was it? How much did he have it before?
Well, I want... I feel like there's a word that neither of you said that, like, I want to... that I want to see if you guys can get.
Okay.
Let's do the thing where you each get it, and then if not, I'll render a judgment.
Okay.
So I think there's a key word/words that if you could get, then I'll be like, yeah, you nailed it.
Can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Action figure.
No.
Oh.
Brother.
No.
Orphan.
No.
Yakuza.
No. This is your last one, man.
My last one. I'm gonna say... Oh, God, this is so difficult. Because I think I know what you're going for with what Diggins was right about.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a word that could fit into that. How about this? Action-packed.
Nope.
Ah.
Diggins.
Okay. Let's go with assassin.
No. All right, so the word I was looking for was spin-off.
Nah. Yeah.
So I'm going to give it to Diggins because I
That's
think
fine.
he got the intent most correctly. So this is the IMDb summary. A G.I. Joe spinoff centered around the character of Snake Eyes.
Yeah!
Wait.
That's it.
But is it, though? What's it spinning off of? Don't you have to have a movie first to spin off?
Nope.
I guess not. That's wild. That would be like if they called Iron Man 1 a spin-off of the Avengers. Here comes Iron Man. Oh, my God. I mean, that's fair, because this is a product, like, more than
a
lot
to
of
be
movies
consumed.
are. Yeah. So,
I don't know. I think it's on
but-
par with a lot of movies these days.
that's fair. I think it feels more like a product, because it is more product than movie, whereas at least some of them... I'm like, at least that was a movie. This one, we'll talk about it.
What was more of a product, this movie or Space Jam 2?
Oh, Space Jam, for
Space
sure.
Jam
Yeah.
2.
I forgot about
okay,
that.
yeah.
I'm thinking
No.
more like compared to like Black Widow or Fast and Furious. Like, they're all products to some extent, but they're usually trying to sell me the next movie in the franchise. But this one, I guess, is trying to do that too, I guess. I don't know.
It's weird. It is both the... Well, we should let Diggins talk about it.
Yeah,
but I
Diggins,
guess
you're
on
up first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, honestly, I found this movie mostly forgettable. It's not very interesting or, like, entertaining, really. I think they do a lot of that Bourne trilogy up-close shaky cam action scenes.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think no one since the Bourne trilogy has learned how to do well. So they're just, like, confusing and hard to follow. The plot is functional, but... not very interesting. It's basically like think like if I throw the words like secret ninja clan and like Yakuza at you, you could probably piece together 90% of the plot on your own, just using those words and your knowledge of cliches.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really add any kind of like interesting details on top of that. I already forget what movie it was I described this way, but It is also very fitting for this one to describe the main character as desperately in search of a personality.
I mean, probably Mortal Kombat. He was that.
Yeah, that was it. That's what I called him.
I think this guy's got quite a personality. It's just awful. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Right.
But the Mortal Kombat man at least had a family to fall back on. When everyone was like, what's your personality? He's like, I have a family. But this one, it's like, what's your personality? I don't have a family?
Yeah, I'm a spin-off.
Yeah, right.
Spin-off me.
And as I have predicted, even though I was mocked and scorned for it at the time, it being a G.I. Joe property only seeks to harm this movie. The shoehorning in of G.I. Joe characters and trying to make it like fit an overarching G.I. Joe narrative, like adds an extra like 30 minutes maybe to this movie, all of which are totally extraneous and don't add anything good. You could take it all out and the movie would be better for it. So I didn't like it, but it was too boring to hate, honestly. Like, that's kind of my opinion. It's
boring to hate. I love it.
It's not, like, egregiously horrible. It's just kind of mediocre and doesn't work very well and isn't interesting to watch visually. So I was just kind of bored the whole time. Which is certainly not a ringing endorsement, but I don't know. I have a hard time getting worked up about this one.
That's fair. Nando?
I didn't like it. I thought it was very bad. It was not good. I didn't like it. I thought I was ready to like this. I really was. I was ready to get involved, and I think I like the originals more than this for sure. But I think that like there's a certain amount of like schlockiness that comes with them that is fun. Like Cobra in a fucking, fan boat screaming like, I'll be back, Joes. Like that, that appeals to me. But this it's very boring, but it's also like so all over the place in terms of like the characterization of everybody. I think one of the biggest differences between Diggins and myself, not that I love the G.I. Joes so much that I, have like all these thoughts about them. And, like, they are so precious to me. But more like, I just was watching it going, like, what the fuck are they doing with this guy? Like, this guy isn't... How by the end of the movie is this one going to be the hero and this one going to be the villain? Because that's the ones that they are. And I found that all of the emotional arcs of these characters fascinating because they don't make any sense. I don't think it's fun to look at. The plot doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. And by whole thing, I mean, like, the whole ninja... Like, obviously, the thing which we'll talk about, which is the big thing at the end of the movie, that kind of drives the plot of the third act. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but, like, whatever, that's silly. But just, like, the rules of the ninja clan and the way they'll treat all the main characters and stuff, like, it feels weirdly rushed, even though it's a very long movie. I think it's insane how they made me not like Henry Golding. How hard must it be to make him not charming? And like the work they must have done. And and same for Samara Weaving and pretty much everyone else involved. Same for what's his name? Same for the actor whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, but the guy from Warriors and the Storm Shadow. Also, I think he came off a little better in this movie. It's just like kind of interesting. But
Andrew Koji is his name.
Andrew Koji, yeah. But still, like, man, this is a weird movie. Yeah, and I didn't like the G.I. Joe parts. I don't think they were quite schlocky enough. I think it's so weird that she's the spinoff. Like, that Scarlet O'Hara is, like, the one that you're like, here she is. I don't know. I mean, she's, like, important.
Scarlet O'Hara from Gone with the Wind?
That's her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no intersection with the G.I. Joe universe at all. This is the first G.I. Joe thing I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the character's name. If it's not, I think they gave her that name in this movie. Her name in the whole thing is just Scarlet, but no, it's Scarlet O'Hara. Okay. You want... So in G.I. Joe, like, continuity, her name is Shayna O'Hara, and then they call her Scarlet because she has red hair, probably. So, yeah, you piece it together.
That's how they do this.
Scarlet O'Hara, yeah. But, like, and also... go on.
Oh, it's just, we have to draw a straight line to what they do to what their name is. Like, that's the fucking rule.
Yeah, and I like the G.I. Joe as a concept. I think it's fun and silly and good, and I didn't like this at all.
I think it's pretty obvious why Scarlet is the one they included in this movie.
Why? Do you?
Because
I do.
Could she be a woman?
Well, because they are desperately trying to copy the success of the MCU down to the molecule.
Right.
And so that means that the woman character has to never get her own movie for years and years and years, and is only a supporting character in other people's movies.
And be the redhead named Scarlet? That
Yeah.
helps. Yeah, I guess, I mean, they copied one part of the MCU. I guess they skipped the first part with, like, the Agent Coulson kind of character in the first Iron Man movie and went straight to this one.
I skipped the part about making the first few movies good.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. The end. I don't know.
It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. The end.
It's
So far we've got too boring to hate and not the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think as a G.I. Joe fan, I did kind of hate it, though. So there's that. But what do you think, DJ?
I fall somewhere in the middle, maybe. So
How unusual for you.
Yeah.
So I started with the journey of, like, in the middle of this movie, I'm like, this is, like, harmless and whatever. Like, it's just an action romp that I could deal with. But near, like, the 3/4 mark, we get to the point where it's like, oh, we have to shoehorn in all of our Joe coins because, or, like, cash them out because that's the whole point of this, right? Like we said, like, it's a product. Even if not as blatant as Space Jam. But because we need to cash in all of our Joe coins, now none of the characters make sense. We're doing everything at the very last minute, and the movie's just a hodgepodge of, you know, like we said last week, flashing lights and jingly keys, the movie. And that's how this movie ends, and it was, like, pretty disappointing. Just how we get to where we are. Like, I'll say the turn, like, here's, like, I don't know how to put this in terms. Like, basically from the snake pit to what follows, like, how we get there is, like, batshit crazy.
Oh,
like, it
my
doesn't
God.
make any fucking sense. And I think that's a fact if they had to cash in all the Joe coins. So I went from being like, this is harmless and whatever, to, wow, I just find this to be super confusing and annoying. It's like, that's kind of like where I landed on it. I don't know if that's, like, exactly in the middle of you guys, but, you know, it's like I went from this is fine to, oh, this is super annoying. So,
I mean, I'd say that's reasonable in terms of, like, I think things do get weird after the snake pit. I think there's a point before the snake pit, like, pretty much the first task. For the first task, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here. This is something. And then it didn't do that. And then it just... but I don't think the G.I. Joe-ness of it is what was, like, I don't think shoehorning in the G.I. Joe characters was the problem necessarily, although I don't think it helped. But just, like, I don't think this movie works as a G.I. Joe movie when it's trying to be a G.I. Joe movie. But I also don't think this movie works as a martial arts, like, action, just, you know, guy training to do the tests. Because the tests don't exist. Like, they're not tests.
yes.
There's nothing interesting about it. They're not fun to watch. So that sucked.
And, like, there's no wonder to them. Like, I could pass these fucking tests, right?
Yeah, I think
Like,
most
if you
of
just
us
look at
could.
the 3 tests, it's like, okay, like, we'll talk about it, but it doesn't seem like there's any skill. It's just like, don't be a bad person.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Are you confident in the purity of your heart, DJ? You think you wouldn't get your ass chomped by those snakes?
I think I do fine with the purity of my heart, to be honest.
I think I'd be good compared to, like, Murder Ninjas. If Murder Ninjas, like, I think my purity of my heart would be like, oh, man, I really don't pay for all my subscription services. Using a lot of people's Netflix passwords. Come on, snakes, don't get mad at me for that. Like, I don't have revenge in my past. And the snakes, even with what's his name, like, they do take their time. And I'm like, they're really on the fence. So if they're like that about him, I'm definitely going to be cool. And I mean, I think that first test I would do exactly the way he does it, like, to win. I don't, like... Has this guy ever watched a movie like this before?
I don't think he's watched any movie
like the character
ever.
Snake Eyes. Has he ever seen a martial arts movie?
I think
Kung Fu Panda
when
or something.
you have a movie that is any movie, not even necessarily this one, but any movie where the plot is just a pile of cliches, you have to assume that all of those movies do not exist in this universe.
That's fair. It's a shame.
Cliche-less movies.
Yeah. This movie's weird.
So anyway, that's where I fell on it. I thought it was fine until the end, and then I hated it, and I feel like it let me down, not because I went in with any level of expectation or excitement, because I was like, well, this is a movie that's fine and has a lot of flippity flips, and I like watching a movie with a lot of flippity flips. But then it just got dumb.
DJ, you're gonna love Jackass Forever, I guess. I don't know. What's the most flippity flips in a movie this year? Probably that, right?
Listen. You joke, but the Jackass Forever trailer was probably the best part of my movie-going experience.
Honestly, me too. I loved it.
For me, it was the Green Knight trailer.
I didn't get the Green Knight trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got Jackass. Did you get Jackass Forever, Diggins?
I did also get Jackass Forever, yes.
So I have a question for you, Diggins.
I think I showed up late, too, so that, yeah.
So, Diggins, I think, if I may, if Nando won't get offended by this, I would say that, Diggins, you're probably, like, the intellectual of the podcast. At least that's, like, how I feel.
I'm the intellectual.
Everybody, just imagine the face I'm making here. It's like this. You know, but go on.
I present as the most intellectual. Secretly, I'm the dumbest member of the squad.
It is the wise man who knows that he is the dumbest man, though. And
in relative terms, we elevate you, I think, and that's how it's like you've surrounded yourself with even dumber people. And
that's fair.
That's the secret.
I mean, you're the one that doesn't know the G.I. Joe movies, so I'll like already you've got a huge head start.
But anyway, so I bring this to say, when you watch the Jackass Forever trailer, how do you arrive at that? Like, what do you think of that as just like quote unquote cinema?
Yeah, I mean, listen, a series of well-executed stunts is basically how you can describe a lot of movies. So, I don't know, if you enjoy watching them, then go nuts.
It's very noble of you. I thought you were going to be like, this is trash. Anyone who likes this is out of their mind.
If you had asked me, like, several years ago, maybe that's what I said. But, no, man. If I've never watched a Jackass movie, like, I imagine that they're so popular because they are, like, good, funny stunts that they're doing. So, like, hey, there's way worse movies out there than a bunch of good, funny stunts strung together.
It'd be hard to do for the podcast because it's just that, but I think, like, you should go and watch Jackass Forever and, like, old Jackass movies because they're just, like, great.
I thought you were going to say, I think you should go and shoot yourself out of a cannon into the lake. Like, there's something about those guys that I think makes it okay. I don't think I'd want to watch anybody, like, just anybody do stunts like that.
It has to be them.
They have a certain amount of charm, just based on the fact that they're all old men now. And by old men, I mean, like, they're 50. But, like, they're old fur people that get shot out of cannons. And
if you're 50, you're basically dead. I think we can all agree.
I mean, you've got, like, another night on the beach? Maybe? You know?
The idea for them was like, oh, we're a bunch of like idiots in our 20s. Let's do these stunts and stuff like that. So
I think,
like, I don't know that they should be doing this.
Well,
and they certainly shouldn't, but whatever.
I think there's something about it now where it feels a little bit more controlled. Where I think my biggest thing that I didn't love about it back in the day was it was kind of, you know, there was that like gross out stuff to it too. If I remember correctly, that I didn't love and probably still wouldn't now. But also, I feel like there was like this air of like, not like unprofessionalism, but it was unpolished in a way that I think also has a charm. But I do like watching it and knowing that they're all not dead, you know, at the end. Like, there's something about...
Yeah, right.
You figure whatever they're doing with that bear probably couldn't have killed that guy, even if, you know, even if it went a little bit wrong. Like, but I wouldn't say that in the original days. So I think that's
fair.
I don't love watching people, like, injure themselves unless I'm like, but it's probably... okay, like they're probably gonna be fine, like in football for instance or something like that. I guess then I'm fine with it. So
yeah, nobody ever develops any debilitating brain injuries after playing football for a few years.
Yeah, you know, it's a safe thing. Everyone loves it. Who am I to judge?
Exactly.
Like, what happens to your junk if you get a softball thrown at it at 1,000,000 miles per hour? Can't be.
No idea.
It doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Well,
it's a mess.
Speaking from experience, a lot of swelling, a lot of bruising. It's pretty unpleasant.
And then after that, you know, It grows to amazing sizes, and it's terrific. It's the coolest thing ever.
That's what everyone says. Is that what I hear?
If you lose one, the other one will grow bigger to compensate.
Diggins had many extra penis eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. We used to call him the Finger Lakes. That was his nickname back in the day.
Hey!
That's a callback to an earlier conversation about the Finger Lakes.
Oh yeah,
God,
that wasn't on the podcast.
That's the worst thing I've ever said on the podcast. Let's talk about G.I. Joe, whatever. Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk about theater experiences real quick. Best theater experience of my life.
Were you the only one there?
I was the only one there. Yep. I went and got up a couple of times to make sure, and then I started laughing and talking to myself throughout, and it was great.
Nando, up top, I went on I think I did. I did Tuesday at 6:00, and it was empty and glorious.
Oh my god, I was so happy.
I decided to patronize my concession stand, so I got a little popcorn, got a little M&Ms, because I had the Stubs reward, so I'm like, oh, these are gonna expire soon. I gotta use them anyway because I don't pay for movie tickets.
We're back, baby.
So, yeah. So like,
nature has healed.
I struck up a conversation with like the concession person. It was like, how's it going? They're like, like boring as hell, and I'm like, it's all right, guys. Enjoy the summer. Had some like really good vibes, and yeah, it was fun times. Go to the movies when no one's there. That's the secret.
Did you like flip them a quarter, like an old timey hotel person? Like, hey, this one sarsaparillas on me. Have fun, kids.
Spend this on a little ice pop there, boys.
Yeah. Diggins, what about you? What was your experience like?
There was a single other person in the theater.
Oh no!
The loudest
Wait,
person
someone
ever.
Not someone that went with you, like a stranger.
A stranger, yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
We both were the losers going to see movies by ourselves at 12 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Did you sit exactly next to him?
Yeah.
No.
What was the dynamic between you two?
Yeah, talk about
it. We were only one row apart, but we were several seats apart.
Gotcha.
He kind of was like a little to the left of center, and I was a little to the right of center. On two different rows.
Do you think he was having a good time?
Yeah, did he seem like he enjoyed the movie?
I think he might have left early.
Oh, wow.
Because I looked around right before the post-credits scene, and he was not there.
Oh my god, the post-credits. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I love the post-credits scene. I can't believe he missed that.
Yeah, now he's going to be so confused when they make the next one of these. All right, so now we got that out of the way. Let's do this because I feel like we've been very mean to this movie. Can we say one nice thing about the movie? Is there anything nice to say?
Some of the flippity flips were a lot of fun.
I bet they were cool. I feel like I've seen articles or something where one of the stuntmen was like, they messed it up in editing or something like that. Like, it looked better, and for some reason, it doesn't now. But, like, we did these stunts. Like, we were there.
I mean,
right,
it doesn't
this happened.
It doesn't look overly CGI'd. It does look like people were on set doing stunts. It's just the camera work makes it really choppy and confusing and hard to follow.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Is like there were people that saw what was filmed and say that was different than what was edited, like what we got. So it does seem like there was some, I don't know. Do you think studios think that that's better? You can't.
What's better?
Like shaky cam stuff?
Oh, I don't know. Like, some people are dumb, so I think it leads to reason that like a dumb studio exec is like, yeah, fuck, the shaky cam's so good.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, I could believe that.
It is bizarre though, because like what's his name? Andrew Koji. He's a very like accomplished martial arts performer. Like he's not like but like he's an actor too, obviously. But like he's good. You don't bring him in and then swap in a stuntman to do like the regular kick. He can do the kick too. He probably doesn't do all the stunts, but like so it is pretty wild and very disappointing, honestly, that they got the good guy and then we didn't see any cool fight scenes. Like I feel like there were some things in the middle that I'm like, that was probably kind of a cool scene, but there wasn't very much. The scene on the rooftop was okay. The neon lights, I thought that one almost looked good.
Yeah, that was okay. Although the way it ended, can I just say,
my god, yeah.
I like that one was so weirdly shot that I genuinely like couldn't quite figure out what happened.
I still don't know. Like, I have my theories, but
because it's like Snake Eyes cuts the cable so that the electric thing drops, right?
Yep.
But it looks like it drops like next to the roof they're fighting on.
Yep.
And then we just cut to like a mid shot of Kenta by himself deciding to leave for no reason.
Yep.
And then another mid shot of Tommy being upset that he's leaving but doing nothing to stop him, even though there's nothing in his way.
Yeah. I think the whole thing, for a second I was like, oh, he's going to kill him. But then it seems like the whole purpose of the thing is just to kind of surprise the villain. And then it does. And then he runs away. Yeah. And then Tommy's like, oh, no. It feels very Flash, like the TV show, where like a villain is able to like drive a car around a corner. And then the Flash is like, they got away from me. And you're like, no, they didn't.
How?
You're the Flash. And also, just keep running. Just try. I think there's another... See, my problem with the movie... I know we're in the nice things part. I think there's another moment like that, or scene like that, where like something happens and it's like kind of left, and you're like, what the heck was that? Almost enough that I'm like, there's something about, not just like the pacing of this movie, but just like the construction of scenes where the cliches aren't supported by the thing that the movie is doing. So like in that, it's like, and then the villain gets away, but the movie doesn't explain why or like set that up. And it sucks. I'll explain the other one. I think maybe you know what the other one is, but the first one I think is, or that one is very egregious and had me also audibly guffawing.
Oh, the guffaws from Nando were
So many
incredible.
guffaws. Well, empty theater, I'll guffaw like crazy. I'll say a nice thing. I think the Japan in it was nice. I think the culture represented in a way that was okay, like cool, kind of. Like obviously some of the ninja stuff was kind of dumb. But it was shot in ways that weren't stupid.
It felt a little Orientalist to me, just the way where it's like, I am taking you back to my secret clan. Also, honor is the most important thing in the world to me. I'm like,
yeah,
right.
it's so tough. I don't know too much about the backstory of this movie, who wrote it, who directed it, whatever. I would assume, and probably wrongly, but I expected a year of our Lord 2021. If you're making a movie with a largely Asian cast, you're going to get an Asian director, but what do we think about Robert Schwentke? Nope.
Oh, definitely.
German.
I would guess he's Singaporean.
Oh, I Googled it. He is German. And then you got 4 writers. Always a good sign.
Well, hey, it's not Space Jam's, what was it, 6?
Yeah, it's not quite as many. These feel like they might be Asian names. I don't want to stereotype, but Spittlopopoulos, that seems like it's that sounds like it's Korean, right, or something.
Could have married, could have married.
Evan
there, right?
Spilotopoulos. And then Waterhouse and Shrapnel. Yep. They have
Look, there's no way to know, right? There's no way to know.
I mean, it tells you.
I'm only seeing 3 writers here. Who's the 4th?
I'm taking the story by 2. So,
well,
that's the first guy. Yeah, sorry.
The same guy.
I counted the director in with them, I guess. That was my mistake. But yeah, so 3 writers and the director, none of which seem to be non-white. So maybe it is kind of Orientalist. I guess what I'm thinking more is just like it looked cool sometimes. There were sometimes when I was like, oh, this movie's going for something, where they would like land the plane and then like cool drums, and you're like, cool. But then they didn't do that for the rest of the movie. So,
I guess
whatever.
What I mean is like none of it's like directly like derogatory or anything, but it's all kind of the most stereotypical version of those things.
It's like lazy.
I'm completely with you there. Like if it's not written by someone from that culture, if there's no like person that's like, yeah, well, this is what we're doing. I don't know what to tell you. This is what, then it does feel very like, I don't know, very, yeah.
It's certainly no Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift in its fidelity of the Tokyo experience.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, like, Tokyo Drift honestly did feel like it was a Tokyo. It is bizarre how good that movie is at, like, the kind of weird, almost genuineness. It's so strange.
I mean, I sounded like I was being facetious, but I mean, like, genuinely, that was like felt like a much more lived-in depiction of Tokyo than this does.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to this movie, I do think most of Tokyo is one alleyway. So I think they managed to get Tokyo right.
One alleyway with like huge neon signs everywhere.
Big old neon.
I mean, I guess they do say he's in Shinjuku, which is like the part of Tokyo that's like that. To be fair.
I mean, I believe him that is it. But yeah, I don't think... Yeah, I guess I will take back my praise. I think I almost liked Andrew Koji. I'd say he's my bright spot in this movie. Only because his character was not super weird. Like, I didn't hate the whatever she was, security person either as an actor, but I couldn't get over that character. Speaking of cliches, and I couldn't stand Snake Eyes. He's so unlikable. It's insane. This is, by the way, for people that don't know, this is the Say Something Nice section of the podcast.
Yeah.
Is there anything else nice we could say? I like that they gave Scarlet O'Hara her little crossbow. That was nice, wasn't it?
Now, the Baroness had served absolutely zero purpose in this movie, and it would have been better if she wasn't in it, generally. However, her wildly, hilariously inconsistent accent was easily my favorite part.
Yeah, I really dug that character. I loved the glasses. It's so funny, because they set this in this real world, it's not real world, but kind of. Besides all the magic snakes and stuff, the people walking around and doing... I feel like that the way that a movie in today's year of our Lord 2021 tells you that this is a real movie is with cage fighting and stuff. And this movie started with a little bit of that. And it was this isn't a silly G.I. Joe movie. This is down to earth and gritty. So where was I going with this? I liked her.
Say, yeah. Sorry, just to tag on to that point, Nando. And I don't know. I guess we're still in the Say Something Nice section, but I must say that the way they introduced the magic was just no explanation.
Oh my god!
And a lot of things in this movie where they offer no explanation, I'm like, what's going on here? I legit thought when he first Blind Master showed off that weird Firefly thing, I'm like, is that some kind of technology thing?
Right?
Because everything up to this point has been technology. That was the whole thing.
I was gonna ask, as the person who has literally never interacted with the G.I. Joe media before, does magic exist in G.I. Joe?
It exists, I think, kind of the same way it exists here, which is there's I guess not. I would say there's a lot of.
I know there's definitely technology that is so wildly out of sync with how science works that is basically magic.
Yeah.
But this movie has a lot of literal magic, and has that been in the universe before?
I don't think it would be insane in the G.I. Joe movies if they found a super magic power source rock thing. I also remember from one of the cartoons, the cartoon movie of G.I. Joe, that there was an ancient snake god named Serpentor or something. So it's not the most grounded franchise in history, but it's definitely not what it's known for. And I also wouldn't really tie that up with Snake Eyes. I would say I want to say there's some sort of shamanish character or something. I might be confusing that with the X-Men, but I think there's someone there who maybe is a little bit more magic-y. But it's like ninjas, so you're usually just I don't know, Blind Master is really good because he's he's the best ninja ever, and he's blind, and he's Daredevil, kind of. So, yeah, it's usually just that they're good ninjas. I don't know.
So, anyway, yeah, that's what I have to say nice about this movie.
What else is nice about the movie?
It's nice that it ended.
It did end.
It was only 2 hours, which,
could have been longer, yeah. You know what I'd like?
Henry Golding is handsome.
Yeah, Henry Golding thanked me for going to the movie in a little trailer before the movie started. Did you guys get that, too?
Yeah, and Henry Golding said, it's such an honor to be Snake Eyes. And I'm like, you don't sully this relationship with cheap lies.
Yeah, honestly. Right. You haven't seen the movie yet, I guess, Henry Golding. You're sitting in the theater with me now.
And he says, it's an honor to bring this iconic character to the screen. That's a thing. People are just yes, the iconic character of Snake Eyes, finally on the big screen.
Yeah, he was the only part of the first couple of movies that everyone was that was pretty good. He's been brought to the screen, and his origin never mattered. I wouldn't say he never had an origin, because I think we do know a lot of this, him and Storm Shadow business, but like the fun part about him is he's a ninja that hangs out with a bunch of army men and dresses with no face, and like it's, you know, he's silent and stuff, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, not this.
Hey, as far as name origin story, specifically the name, how does this compare to Solo?
Oh God.
What do you mean name? Just like what his name?
How he got the name Snake Eyes?
I mean, it's better.
It's better, yeah. Like at least his dad died from a Snake Eyes draw.
I don't know if that's a guy from G.I. Joe.
Draw
that
thing you famously
do
do with dice. You draw them.
Yeah.
I was going to say, by the way, you don't always lose on Snake Eyes. You can bet on Snake Eyes in a casino, and then like you could win on Snake Eyes. You know, it's not just like it craps like you Snake Eyes. Like, oh, I lost. Like that's not exactly how that works.
Well,
yeah.
DJ, this is just a made-up game this guy's doing before he kills you. So, like, who gives a shit?
It's
like,
true.
There's a scene later on where he has the dice and he rolls them over and he's like, they're fixed dice. They always come up Snake Eyes. And I'm like, he wasn't like at a casino and lost all his money. This guy made this up. Who cares that it was fixed? He was always going to kill him. You know that.
And also, loaded dice don't work that way. Like, they're a little bit more likely to land on those numbers.
Yeah.
But it's like that they have the dice from fucking Ocean's 13, where you, like, click and they magically turn to the one they're supposed to be on. Also, how many times did you guys, in your heads, go like, he's got dice in his pocket? What a loser. Like, this whole movie, he was the guy with the fedora.
Yeah, the fedora with the safari flaps.
With the safari flaps. Yeah, it's his origin story as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know, the guy at the store said that he never seen anyone pull it off before, but I was pulling it off.
I mean, to be fair, Henry Golding could pull that off. He's one of the only ones.
He's the only guy I've ever seen pull it off.
Yeah, he really would be. He's gonna stand up for this hat, okay?
I've never stood up for anything in my life, but I'm standing up for this hat.
People that don't know about that should listen to our recommendations.
People like DJ.
Has DJ not watched it? I thought DJ had watched it.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is that a problem?
I mean, it's just so funny. You should watch it. Like, I feel like we've said this a couple times, and I feel like since then you've probably watched at least one Bachelor, and like your time will be better spent on this.
I mean, Nando and I are going to go on at least 2 more tangents like that. So just for your own being able to follow the conversation.
Honestly, I kind of want to keep them secret, or like I don't want to really announce them whenever they do come up, and I don't even know what they will be. But you're right, they will. Yeah. What else? Let's see. What else was good about the movie?
You're really fishing, man. I don't know why. Like, it's allowed to be bad.
Yeah,
it is.
It's not. It's tough. Yeah, Henry Golding was okay. I think his character's written to be the worst.
Yeah. By the way, he didn't quite get that American accent, by the way.
Oh, I don't know if he was going for it, though. I couldn't tell.
He went to the Benedict Cumberbatch School of American Accents, where the only way you can do it is by whispering and growling the whole time.
Yeah.
I went the first time we heard him speak as an adult, I was almost like, does he have kind of a British accent? Or like, I'm not quite sure.
There were several points where he definitely, like, I don't know. I guess he was trying his best, and they were like, that's all we're just go with it. That's all we're getting.
Maybe he summered in London for a couple of years or something. Like, that character just took on an accent.
Well, it was on the run.
Do they say where that cabin is at the start?
It's got to be America, because it's the whole Joe thing, right?
Well, I mean, the Joes are an international organization, as we know.
Yeah, they're an American task force, I guess, but yeah, they have international jurisdiction somehow.
I want to say the G in G.I. Joe usually stands for global. So yeah,
there you go then.
Yeah, because they've always got weird, like, you know, they've got guys that are like the French one, and like the one, you know, it's got that whole thing.
The Japanese ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, his accent was weird. What did we think of? I don't know, the other ones. Andrew Koji, he's not bad.
I liked him a lot,
generally.
Actually, I thought Andrew Koji did like a really good job.
Yeah,
I
believed him as the like earnest heir to the clan who, you know, really believes in Snake Eyes, which is why the ending was so confusing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't. Ugh.
I mean, I said this in a tweet, but this movie really went to the Green Lantern school of everybody getting your starting positions for the next movie by the end of this one, regardless of what happened in the movie.
Well,
like
Green Lantern at least was just like Sinestro. The whole like ends the movie as like, I guess I respect you now. And then the post credit scene was like bizarre. It was like, also I have a fear ring. Why?
Yeah.
But like at least that was like you could ignore the post credit scene and where he ends makes sense. This one is like you have the climactic scene of the movie is him like throwing away his character in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's real wild. I also think because he's mostly known from that show Warrior, where he is like I don't even know. Like I know, but like it's like a period piece set in the turn of the century in I think California, but anyway, he has the beard in that too. He is just, people look different without beards, really just night and day. When he shaves his beard, I thought it was a new guy.
It's true.
I mean,
it's fascinating to me.
As the proud owner of a full thick beard, I can confirm that you look like a very different person without it.
Yeah, it's a shame, not a shame, because he's still a very handsome man, but it's just it's so wild that he's like, I shaved my beard. And it's like, I guess maybe it's like I don't know, like I'm coming home, I don't want to have straggly hair for mom.
The beard is like Yakuza mode, and then
yeah,
it's a baby face for
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, he was I liked him. I think his bits were cool when he did fighting. I think his bits were probably the best ones. But
honestly,
yeah,
I got a hot take for you.
Let's hear it.
I think that he should have been cast as Snake Eyes, and then Henry Golding as Storm Shadow.
Yeah, I mean
think that would have been better.
Makes way more sense as an origin movie for the anti-hero one versus the hero one. Like, I don't think I think this script doesn't all of the characters could switch places at any point and they'd all work. Like, it's really weird how you get to the end and it's just like, make a choice that doesn't really have too much to do with where we've been up until now. But if you make the choice, you're a bad guy, and if you don't, you're a good guy. And it's like, I want to be a bad guy, so I will. But yeah, if he didn't do that, it'd be like, oh, I guess he's good. I don't know. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow's relationship is weird, because Storm Shadow does like turn good a bunch. So it's like, he's barely even an anti-hero. I don't even know.
I also thought they were actually brothers.
No, I think they are usually orphans, kind of. Like, I think that's not orphans, but definitely, I'm pretty sure that Snake Eyes is usually like kind of brought to ninja stuff.
Okay. I do remember a line in Retaliation or one of the G.I. Joe movies where Storm Shadow goes to Snake Eyes, "Hello, brother."
Oh, yeah, they always say that because they pretend they're brothers, kind of. Because in that movie, I'm pretty sure they trained together, like, from birth or something. But they, right. I think he's like a foundling. What did we think of Haruka Abe as Akiko? That is the security officer or whatever.
She sure was a fine character until she wasn't.
She's much like Anju Koji. The actress was totally fine. But the character, midway through the movie, takes an unusual turn that I don't understand. But hers does not come at the end of the movie, but instead about 2/3 through it.
And we don't get any explanation as to why.
Well, okay. There's the one scene where he tells her, like, I am an orphan, and I guess that makes her fall in love with him.
Well, she's kind of an orphan too, or not like an orphan, but like she's like outside of the clan, so there's that, I guess.
She doesn't really ever explain it, but she says that she never had a family until the Arishikage. So I guess you can assume, some kind of orphan deal.
You gotta love a good orphan deal, am I right?
I mean, it's how you make a superhero, you know.
It's buy one get one free on dead parents, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, her character does. Like, is there even that romance really sucks? And
I didn't even read his romance.
I guess in the movie's defense, it's never explicitly a romance. No, you could.
Yeah,
they never even kiss.
But they get real close that one time, kind of.
It felt like they were going for a romance thing, because they're always like all up in each other's biz, and like getting all breathy, and I'm like, are they gonna kiss? But they never do or express an interest in it.
Have you ever tried to have a conversation with Henry Golding in person? Because maybe that's just what happens, you know?
Yeah, right. You know,
you're just drawn to his big baby blue eyes or whatever color his eyes are. I don't know.
Maybe we were just reading it romantic because it's Henry Golding, and it's hard to imagine that anyone who gets near him doesn't want to kiss him.
Exactly. I feel like there's probably... I don't think the fan fiction community really latched onto this movie because I don't think it made a huge dent culturally in general, but I'm sure the Tommy Snake Eyes thing...
I'm looking up the AO3 for this movie.
Okay. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure the Storm Shadow Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe fan fiction exists big time.
They're pretty good about tags. I can look up specifically the characters in this movie. How many works are about them?
Yeah, because I would venture a guess that there's at least one. Who else we had? We had Kenta. Kenta was the bad guy. That's pretty much his whole thing. He came in and said, "I'm Kenta. I'm the bad guy.
Yep.
I do swords too."
It's interesting how like these characters had no personality traits except for like their one thing. It's like Storm Shadow. It's like, I am the person who will get to represent this clan. Blah 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 blah. And Kenta is like, I've been spurned and I want to kill. And Akiko is I'm the security officer. Blah blah blah. What I find interesting is like for Snake Eyes, his whole thing is like revenge, right? And you cast Henry Golding, fine. Who like talking about him how he should be someone who you would not be able to have a conversation with him without trying to kiss him. But in this movie, he is such a non-sexual being, and it just does not make sense for Henry Golding as a...
And he's the worst. Like, his character is awful. And, like, I think some of the choices he makes in this movie should, like, you would assume at the end of this movie, he dies, Akiko takes up the Snake Eyes mantle, and that's the origin we're seeing or something. Because, like, he fucking sucks as a person. I would
love that, by the way. That would have been awesome.
Like, it wouldn't have made any sense, but totally this guy did so much bad shit. And for no good reason. Like, everybody was so nice to him the whole movie, and he's just throwing it away. And and I'm sure some people were like, oh, man, he's, the revenge sucks. But also... I don't know, man. I've seen enough Batman movies where it's like, stop taking yourself so seriously, dude. Revenge isn't that great. And then it's like, all these... Tommy gave you so many chances. I felt really bad for Tommy. Like,
dude, I was Team Snake Eyes. I was so Team Snake Eyes.
Wait, you mean Storm Shadow?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Team Storm Shadow.
It doesn't help that they both have nonsense names that start with S. Like, it's not like either of them is like, Black Knight. And it's like, well, that's the one that wears black. It's just whatever. They could easily switch names. No one would notice.
I have found 4 fan fictions specifically about Snake Eyes G.I. Joe origins.
Okay.
All of them are shipping Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Love it. I think there's
that
just...
makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like there's a Mad Libs at this point where you can just plug in a couple of things and then you got it. Not to minimize the hard work that these people are doing. I'm sure it's terrific, but also...
I mean, hey, I think, so what you guys were saying while I was looking up fan fictions on AO3, I don't mind that he is making the wrong decision for most of the movie, because, like, that's movies, A character makes the wrong decision until something finally makes them make the right decision. And, it's character growth, You watch it happen. It's just that in this movie, it's boring. In this movie, he like, his confliction is like, he goes up to the bad guy and is like, I don't want to do the bad thing. And the bad guy's like, but I have your father's killer. And he's like, I guess I will do the bad thing. And like, that's about it.
Yeah, I think his moment of clarity as the Act 2 to Act 3 bridge is fucking bonkers in this movie. Like,
I don't even know what it is.
You can boil it down to a sentence, and I think it's fascinating. And I will get to it because it is technically a spoiler, but it's insane.
I guess.
I mean, it's the only... Yeah, I'd say it's a spoiler in the sense that, like, I don't know. No one's going to watch this movie.
No one did, according to the box office.
It's true. More
no
people
one watched
saw
this goddamn movie.
the movie that everyone loves. To be fair, saw Old around the same time in the day. 7 people in the theater. Or 8.
What'd you think of Old? Did you like it?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Wait.
Other characters.
Give us one adjective as a teaser, and then we'll move on.
What's an adjective to describe Old that like teases my thoughts on it?
You know what? I'll expand.
Wasted
Any kind of
dash potential. I don't know. Like it's a oh, there was something there, and then wasn't. But the specifics are interesting.
Okay.
I would say it's just Shyamalanian is the word, but that felt like a cop out.
I would have accepted it.
Speaking of cops, let's talk about the cops of the movie, the Joes. We got Samara Weaving as Scarlet, an actor I love, and I couldn't hate this character more.
What has she done? I don't know what she's been in.
Hide and Seek House of Death. And the
Yeah,
Babysitter
that
movies
movie's
on Netflix that are actually pretty good. And Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. She's the daughter of
The movie.
one of them.
Yeah, she's Thea. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie Nando was mentioning, the first one, is called Ready or Not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's great, and
Totally,
she's very funny. She's got it's funny. It's interesting. She's got like a Margot Robbie kind of look.
Also Australian.
Also Australian, yeah. And I think Margot Robbie has like a very diverse career in a way that's kind of like not like impressive, but it's like she does a lot of different stuff, which is always cool. I would say the thing I like about Samara Weaving is she does like weird little movies. Like, she hasn't done until this. And I'm sure she has done something that's like this. And I know she's in a show now called like 9 Perfect Strangers, but I don't know what that is. But like, she's in this. She's in the Babysitter movies, Bill and Ted, like Guns Akimbo. I don't know. She seems like she picks projects that are fun. 3 Billboards, but I don't remember which she was in that. But yeah, this was not good. She was not good at this. And not that she wasn't. I'm sure she was directed poorly, but I did not care for her in this.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to like. It was,
she was just real boring. Like, she was just like, I'm a G.I. Joe. It almost feels like, and I think, the idea...
Let me do a Black Widow fight scene real quick.
But even Black Widow has a little bit more, like, something, Like, there's like a... I don't know exactly what it is, but, like, this character seemed bored in the movie. Like, the character
she's too
was
cool
like
for school.
Yeah.
That was, like,
The
deal,
character,
right?
like me, was confused about why she was in the movie.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I think it's interesting because I do think her counterpart, the Cobra's Baroness, was much more of, like, what I'd expect from this version, like, from the G.I. Joe insert character, where it's like,
right.
Oh, yeah, I can get behind this. Like, if she was really, like... See, I don't remember what Scarlet's known for. It's probably She's the Girl, in the
Almost
very
certainly.
original ones. Yeah, I don't remember if there is... I feel like there is another one, but she's, like, one of them. If she was more, like... corny and kind of Captain America patriotic, if she had that vibe, that'd be kind of fun, but she had no vibe, absolutely none.
Baroness in this movie came from an alternate universe version of the movie that I liked. I won't say was good, but that I liked because she is like completely ridiculous.
Yeah, makes no sense. Like, she's the character that's like, before they ship out the weapons, like, put on the fucking Cobra logo on the box, guys. We're here to have fun.
Wait, everybody, do you have your Cobra pins on the inside of your jacket? So they know that we are from our secret terrorist organization.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I loved her. I don't know that actress super well. But,
Ursula Corbetto?
Yeah, I would watch the movie that she's the bad guy in. Because, like, the Baroness is in the first one of these, the one with Channing Tatum, but she's Sienna Miller, and there's a whole bit where it's like, she secretly is love, like, his ex-girlfriend, who I think he thought was dead or something, but has, like, amnesia. It's insane. So she didn't get to be, like, wacky and wild, but that movie did have a couple of characters that were over the top enough that you're like, this is kind of fun. Like, if everybody was like this would actually be pretty great. And yeah, I think she's as close as we get to that for sure. Also, I'm definitely gonna forget this. A small thing about this movie, the villain in the second G.I. Joe movie, played by Ray Stevenson, is named Firefly. His thing is Firefly stuff. So I was like, oh, the Fireflies. He's in this now. When Magic Firefly showed up, and it wasn't that at all, but confusing to me.
Like DJ, when that happened, I was like, this is a hologram, right? Like, this is not magic in this universe, right?
Or like a hallucination-y kind of thing. That happens all the time where you like drink the magic, potion and go on a vision quest or something. But yeah, that ain't what this was either. There were two other Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, and also no curiosity by any of the characters to be like, whoa, what is this? Especially for our POV character who's never seen this stuff before. Just like, this may as well happen.
I think he just has dreams like that all the time. So this is just like that. Like, it's not like anything really interesting happened during the dream. Like, or whatever it was. It's not like he learned any new information, really.
Yeah, and it's put forward like it's a test, right? Like, Blind Master afterwards says you can't pass or fail, but it's supposed to make you confront something about yourself. But
yeah,
it actually does the opposite of that. It's like, it shows him the traumatic incident from his past, and then explicitly the magic goes, don't worry, man, it's cool. You know?
Yeah.
You're fine. It's all cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that was real weird. Other actors, we got Iko Uwais as Hard Master. He is the guy from Raid, Rama from Raid 1. And probably
That's
Raid 2.
cool.
Yeah, he's better than this. Like, his talents were kind of wasted, like you'd expect they would be, because that's what everyone's talents were.
You guys ever see the Raid movies?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the first one more than the second one.
Well,
The second one has some really solid scenes.
I've only seen the first one.
I feel like the first one is probably a better overall movie than the second one, but I admire the audacity of the second one.
Yeah, I feel like the second one has like some bizarre fight scene in a kitchen, if I'm correct, or if I remember correctly, or in a freezer maybe, or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
And I think that probably does stand out as the best of the movies, or best of the fight scenes in all those movies. But yeah, there's some solid stuff. And he's like another guy who's like he's a decent enough actor and a really sick martial artist. So like definitely let him do the martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Or not,
Yeah.
maybe. What if he stands around instead? And he played Hard Master. Oh, yeah.
It's got one.
Yep.
It's got like one scene.
That's fair.
Maybe 1.5.
He gets like a cumulative 30 seconds in the big finale to do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
To your point, it is mostly standing around, and what a fucking waste.
Yeah. There's no like awesome scene where he kicks ass and you're like, wow, that was pretty cool. I'm glad you had him in this. Could have easily been stuntman. But he is only one of the masters. He is Hard Master. Blind Master is played by Peter Mensah.
Now,
people would
look,
recognize this actor.
I don't want to put too fine a point on this.
Okay.
But, like, 2 scenes before we meet Blind Master, they make this huge deal about how Tommy brought in an outsider, and, like, we can't possibly have outsiders who aren't members of the Arishikage family in this clan. This is unthinkable. How could you do such a horrible thing as bringing in someone who is in any way not related to us? And then Blind Master shows up, and he's like a 6.5 foot tall black man.
Yep.
I don't think any of these Japanese people gave birth to this man.
Hey, Diggins. Come on.
Yeah,
You don't know.
you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the first member of the clan. I don't know. I mean, he's also kind of magical in this, in the sense that he has like Daredevil powers, kind of.
Oh
So
man.
that's cool.
What if it's a the black-white supremacist from Dave Chappelle?
Oh, maybe
They never
maybe
told
he
him that
doesn't
he was
know.
black.
That's true.
He thinks he's Asian.
DJ trying to prove you see Dave Chappelle in this episode as some sort of penance for his crimes of last week.
It came up organically.
I got
all right?
so many comments, at least 3, that were like, I know what that's from, and I'm like, good. Glad more people know what that's from.
Listen, I know DJ and I both took some heat for that. I have the excuse that I've literally never watched the Chappelle Show. Now you might
That
think
seems worse.
you might think that that's like a big blind spot in my media watching history, and sure, but at least I wasn't exposed to the reference and then forgot it, unlike some people I could name.
I stand by the fact that it was not a good reference in the context, and I still don't buy that Granny saying game blouses was a reference to the Prince Dave Chappelle.
It 100% was. Like, it's definitely a reference to that.
Given the rest of the movie around it and the rest of Granny's character in the movie, I think it probably is.
Yeah. It's too much of a coincidence that it's not a reference. I don't think it's a great reference. They had
Granny say haters gonna hate, and they had John Cheadle say you mad bro. So If any line could be a reference, it probably was.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a failure then.
That's fair.
Goddamn failure.
Speaking of Blind Master.
Uh-huh.
Do you know...
Wait, who played him in the original G.I. Joe?
Okay. It was actually pretty awesome. Another black man. This movie came out in 2013, I think was what I said before.
Yeah,
G.I. Joe Retaliation. So this is it's only in the second one where you really get into the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow origin, which is insane for other reasons, things that don't come up in this. Do you? Okay. I'm gonna say I'll give you a couple guesses. I think you could guess this person. It is.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah?
I just found out some information that.
What's up?
It's beautiful. So, Storm Shadow's real name is Tommy Arashikage, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
And at the end, he's like, call me Storm Shadow, right? So, Arashi means storm, and Kage means shadow in Japanese.
Nice.
Shit.
He's basically just saying, say my name in English for no reason.
That's gotta be a pretty lame thing to say. As when the I already forgot her name, Akiko is you are like your eyes are like the shadow before the storm. It's I get it. That's what my name is.
I get it. I have a sick ass name.
It doesn't have to come up all the time. Yeah, I guess that's true. It is a pretty sweet name. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'll give you both a couple guesses. Black man did some martial arts in the movie. Obviously, not the highest profile actor because we never heard of it. But someone who is a famous person. And was doing stuff like this around this time. It fit in a really fun way. He also had so many lines in that movie. It was great.
So
it really is the best part.
It's not unreasonable that we would know this guy's name.
You both. I'm pretty sure you both do. I know
Ving
who's one
Rhames.
who does. No, you're. It's not a bad guess.
I am at such
What?
a lot.
Remind me of the year.
2013. This actor, I will say, he's the the blind master here is played off as not just blind, but also seems kind of a little older than all the rest of the guys. I don't know, that might not be true, but I would say the blind master and the other one skews a little younger.
I got a second guess, but DJ's got to get his in first.
All right, Wesley Snipes.
No, not a bad guess. But no.
Jimon Hansu.
No, also a pretty good guess, but no. I think Wesley Snipes is probably as close as we've gotten. Although I will say, you guys are missing one pretty big detail about if you guessed something, I'd be yeah, that's it. You're very much on the right track that you haven't been yet.
I've got the perfect third guess.
Okay, DJ, what do you think?
Lawrence Fishburne.
No, I'm saying, I'm not sure if I wasn't clear. The point I was making was the blind master in the other movie, the one we're guessing, is younger than this one. He skews a little younger. I realized I kind of made that a little unclear. So I'll give you another guess besides Lawrence Fishburne.
All right, Mahershala Ali.
You're just guessing blades in order. Nope, not him either. Diggins, what about you?
Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh
my God.
I would love it. No. It would probably be a little easier to get this if you guys were fans of a show. It was popular in the mid 2000s called The Chappelle Show. It wasn't Dave Chappelle, but it was a person that appeared on the show multiple times, I believe.
Darnell Rollins?
No, not as a performer
Charlie
necessarily, as a musical guest.
Oh my God!
Although he was
John
in sketches
Legend.
as well. No,
Kanye West?
no, but you guys musicians, so you're on the right track.
Ludacris?
Common.
No.
Common would be a good one.
I mean, this guy does movies with martial arts in them. This is his favorite thing.
Oh my God.
So it was really fun at the time specifically to be oh, sweet, he's doing one of these.
Hey, Common was in a John Wick, so that wasn't a bad guess.
No, it's not a terrible guess, but I feel like this guy's a little bit more on the nose. I'll tell you. DJ, you have any more guesses, or should I just tell you?
No, I'm out.
It's a little an actor from his own clan, maybe you could say. The RZA was the blind master in the G.I. Joe movie. G.I. Joe 2.
So makes sense.
Fucking hilarious hearing him say all the lines, because he has everything in that's the hard master says you have to do this and this and this and this. It's great. Yeah, it's so funny.
That's pretty good.
Look it up. It's great. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, this movie. Okay, so what? I don't know. What are we? We already talked about all the actors. They're all fine. What else? The plot doesn't make very much sense. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
we want to do
I
it.
guess.
How do we do this? Let's non-spoilers, I guess, or we'll spoil it as things go. But
kind of spoiled a lot of the movie already.
yeah, we haven't spoiled the main couple of things, which I think are I think we've spoiled it in saying at the end, Snake Eyes is good and Storm Shadow is bad, but we haven't explained why, and that is just because at certain moments they both decide that they are.
I was gonna say only one of those has a reason.
Yeah. I don't know. You want to give us an intro? What's Snake Eyes' this whole deal?
I'll quickly summarize. I will summarize the plot as it is presented to us, and then I will say the twists, giving you a generous pause to stop listening if you don't want to know the twist. Although, again, the pretty unanimous judgment here, this movie is not worth seeing.
No, not at all.
So, Snake Eyes, when he's 8 or 10, or somewhere in that zone, his dad is killed by some mysterious, crime man.
What?
Whoa, who rolls dice to determine whether or not people live or die, and his dad rolls a snake eyes. Oh no! So he dies.
They always die. It's the
Yeah,
secret.
because, even if the dice weren't fixed, obviously he just kills everyone and isn't actually going to let them go if they roll a 7 or whatever. Come on.
Right? And, the guys are all killed in front of no one, right? This is a secret execution. His goons are the only people that see the dice rolls and know what happens afterwards. What's the point? Who's it for? The goons?
I guess it's for him where he just thinks it's funny, which is, fine.
Yeah,
It's fine as far as these
fair.
things go. But, it's just a later scene implies that all these years, Snake Eyes has assumed that this was a totally legit thing that he was going to honor. Which,
Right?
why? Why did you think that?
Pretty insane leap to make.
Anyway, so he spends the next 20 years doing stuff. He does fights for money.
This fight's so good.
He even though he hasn't received his ninja training yet, he does some ninja flips in these fights, which I was like, well, then he doesn't really need the ninja training, does he? He already does ninja flips.
Well, we don't know what he picked up along the way. Maybe he just picked that up on the streets.
That's true.
The hard-bitten ninjas on the streets of L.A.
Is there, I feel like we've seen 4 movies with this so far. Is there an underground street fighting circuit that we're all just missing? That is not only people fighting, but the coolest fights ever? Because so many movies have this now.
Shang-Chi is going to have it.
Yeah, I want to see one. I want to go. I want to go see the best martial artists in the world fight and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, take on Abomination.
Well, and I want to be underground and in a dirty thing and waving a fistful of money. I want to get the whole experience. These guys get weapons, which is very interesting. Not weapons, but environmental. There's a little maze kind of that can go in.
Well, people throw down weapons at some point. Oh, it's the weapon round now. That's what you're doing.
Anyway, continuing with the plot summary.
Continuing with the plot summary.
He's approached by a Yakuza, Kenta, who says that he knows who killed his father, and he will give him that information if he does a job for him. Cut to 4 weeks later, when he's putting Uzis inside a big fish. He is told he's got to execute this one dude who he just met, and is I don't want to do that. And so they have a sick ninja fight to escape instead.
The ninja fight is so funny. I feel it's got to be.
Why don't more of them have guns?
I was going to say, it makes sense in Japan where that sort of thing is strictly regulated. And the actual Yakuza in Japan, they have guns, but they largely don't use them on, the street because that's such a serious crime there.
And you can even say, the honor associated with all of the house and fancy stuff. These guys love swords, these guys love swords. But yeah, all of the goons that we're going to see in this scene are just hired thugs, you would assume. And
they're in L.A. It's America. You could find a gun on every street corner. It's not hard. Yeah. It's not even illegal.
That's true.
But they escape. They have, after some sick ninja fights, including an extra one because the boy he saved just has to fight Kenta. They escape, and the boy is like, I am a secret heir to a secret ninja clan that has protected Japan since the Edo period. And I'm going to take you to be a member of our ninja clan because you saved my life. Which he does.
Super low barrier to entry, by the way. Like, I get it, but, vet some people.
Also, the Edo
just in
period
general.
is like 1600s. Like, it's only like 400 years. It makes it sound like it's ancient. It's only 400 years, guys.
Well, and
Might as well be
also,
ancient.
like, I do think there was a point early on where I was expecting this, like, clan would be bad, Like, because they're ninjas. They fight people with swords. Like, they're probably bad. And this is where Storm Shadow's from, so they're probably bad. And then I'm like, well, they were pretty vague about what this family actually does. Like, what their deal is. And having gotten to the whole end of the movie, besides the one thing with, like, kind of keeping guns out of Japan via this specific guy who they really hate, like, what do they do?
They protect the gem.
Like,
I was thinking that, actually. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they imply they work with the Joes, so maybe if there's, like, shit going down in Japan, they go out.
that's true.
It seems to be mostly scrubs, though. I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
suck.
the best.
Oh, they're the worst. I mean, they
Also-
got Hard Master, Blind Master, very cool. Everybody else sticks.
A thing I love, by the way, a thing that you can really tell this movie was written by white people is he talks about the sun god and how they protect the sun god's gem and everything.
Yeah.
And Japan, like Shintoism, has a very, very clear, defined, and extremely well-known sun god whom they never name.
I was wondering about this. So, yeah.
It's Amaterasu.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Is that from something?
I mean, Amaterasu comes up as a name in a lot of things because it is the Japanese sun goddess, and,
Right.
a lot of video games are made in Japan. Like, Amaterasu is the main character of Okami.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
That's what I would...
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that's...
Extremely important, like, goddess in Shintoism. Like, any Japanese person would have been like, oh, Amaterasu, just throw that name in there.
You think they put in a little more effort to get it in there,
And it's
Not
not
be
like...
so lazy.
Oh, that's not like in movies where, like, you can't be looking for... Like, it's like religion, it's rife for this kind of crap. Like, where it's like, oh, it's the last crusade. You're looking for Jesus's cup. So, like, it's not like we don't weave all the, religious nonsense into the historical nonsense to make some sort of, like, middle ground for adventurers to try to get. Like, we do that all the time. So,
And I mean, like, the Japanese do it themselves with their own Yakuza movies. Like, it would not
Yeah.
be anything that they do not do.
Would have been nice to help explain some of the magic, right?
I mean, is it magic, though, really? Like, I mean, it is, kind of, I guess. But it's like, I mean, we've talked about the thingy, the Heart of the Sun or whatever.
Yeah.
It's an Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
that is bad. Like a shitty Infinity Stone. And,
An Infinity Stone that only sets people on fire.
yeah. So, like, that's...
Yeah.
That's awful. And maybe they were like, this actually, like, they went to the religion and they were like, we're very, like, they went to the, I don't know, there's probably not a pope of Shintoism, but if it was, they would go to him and be like, we actually want your permission to name the god after, or name this rock after a specific god or whatever. And they were like, oh my god, for the fucking Snake Eyes movie? Absolutely not. No, thank you. We don't want to be associated with that. Make it super vague. I don't know of any specific thing from G.I. Joe that would be, but also, I'm not the biggest G.I. Joe fan, but I'm like, I don't know. They're usually just fighting over fucking cars that could turn into tanks and stuff. It's pretty sweet.
Anyway,
But yeah.
he trains to become a ninja in the Arashikage clan. That is the situation as presented to us. Now I'm going to say the super secret spoiler twist that, again, anyone
The
with any
twist.
basic knowledge of, like, movies in general probably already knows what it is, but I'm going to spoil it now. I'm giving you plenty of warning, so I'm going to go into it. If you don't want to listen to it, just stop now. It turns out about, I'm going to say like a half hour into the movie, he goes into Tokyo and meets with Kenta, and this was the job the whole time, was to infiltrate the Arashikage and steal their sun goddess gem for him. because he
No way.
he used to be a member of the Arashikage, and they kicked him out because he tried to kill Tommy for being ahead of him in the line of succession.
Yeah.
Oh, what? It was a twist
It was a tweet
the whole time?
And honestly, that's not even the twist that I was talking about. That is the twist, I guess. But I'm talking about a later twist that I think is even dumber.
It's like,
Oh yeah, no. I knew you were talking about the end of second act twist.
Yeah.
Also, like, extremely, like, you've probably already figured it out. It's extremely easy to see coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, so it's him, like, trying to worm his way into the Arashikage and earn their trust, all the while trying to secretly steal their gem.
Very cool.
which, like, good for you, Snake Eyes. You're a real piece of shit. You're a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it just, like, makes me... I feel so bad for Storm Shadow this whole time. He's just trying to be nice. Like, he has
I know.
no ulterior motive. He is just like, I have a friend. Wow, a friend. And then it's a lie. He deserves to be on the bad... Like, not deserves to be on the bad guy team, but, like, maybe they'll be real friends to him instead of jerks.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one.
Don't worry, Nando. I'm sure everything will work out just fine for Tommy by the end of the movie.
Well, so there's also... The training is, like, so stupid. The training has 3 tests. He has to do the 3 trials that no one can possibly ever... No one has done them at all. It's the worst. You'd never believe it.
80% of people fail.
The first test, which is like...
Yeah.
How? Not like how, I guess, but like... I don't know. It's so
to be
weird.
fair, actually, no, not to be fair. To your point, Nando, when Hardmaster describes what to do, I'm like, are they just supposed to do this thing, which was the thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, even the way he worded it, it was like, well, should we describe this stupid thing?
Yeah, so there's 3 tests. It's really like trials that if you pass them all, you become part of the Arashikage clan, which is like a thing. Like, these are mysteries to us at this point. We assume they're supposed to test something, the values of the Arashikage clan, which I don't think they are. They're trying to turn you into a nice guy who never lies, which is tough for Snake Eyes because he's the worst and he lies all the time.
These trials were made for him to specifically fail.
Yeah.
It feels like.
And the first one is the Hard Master. So we meet the Hard Master. He's like cool and has like his like, you know, little. He's got the ring. We're fighting. And he's ready to do a big fight, and he's playing around with all his cool weapons and size and whatever. And then the test is he has 2 bowls of water, fills it with water, gives you a bowl, gives him a bowl, and he's like, what does he say, TJ? Do you remember word for word or like?
Not word for word, but like he basically says, you take my bowl, I take your bowl without spilling any water. And like
is that what he says?
I think so, yeah.
I thought it was just you take my bowl without spilling any water.
No,
he says like, I think it's more like I'm trying to take your bowl, but he does specifically say that like he wants that bowl.
Right. Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it very much seemed like by the end of this, we will each have 1 bowl,
Right.
Not like one person gets 2 bowls.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, oh, so do they just like, you know, fucking trades? He's like, that's what it seemed like. But then they start in the fighting, and I'm like, oh, I must have misheard, right? Like that's like my dumb brain where I'm like, oh, I must have misheard. I guess you do just have to get both bowls.
And before the thing starts, I already forgot her name, and I couldn't find her on the IMDb, but the matron of the Arashikage clan gives a little speech that's like, sharing is caring, everybody. All right, let's go. Whatever it is, it teaches the lesson of the thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like if I was him in that moment, the whole thing starts, I'd be like, so how do I lose this and how do I win it? Because I think we haven't talked about it at all. I don't know.
He tries to ask a question and they shut him up real quick.
Unfair. Yeah, this movie's weird.
So you have 4 tries
Yep.
to get the bowl, and Snake Eyes tries and he can't do it. Question, why was it 4 times, not 3 times?
Don't
It's
know.
always 3 times.
Yeah, it's a good number for stuff. And in 4, it was just like, we did too many, sorry.
Like, at first I was like, oh, he failed the 3rd time. Oh, that's it. And it's like, oh, right, it was to 4.
I mean, how did you think he was going to pass the test?
I thought he was gonna like pour his water into Hardmaster's bowl. And, by the way, there was no water in those bowls when they were moving, by the way. Because like the shit they were doing with the bowls was just like they were like turned them upside down and no water came out. So they were practicing with empty bowls. But I was like, he's gonna pour the water into like his bowl and trip him up. Right? I thought it had something to do, or he was going to go to the bowl and like not put water in it and cheat, but
or like a drop of water or something.
I didn't think he was going to cheat. I thought he was going to note that nobody ever said he had to refill the bowl.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or that he could just put his bowl, on the floor or something. Like, Hardmaster wasn't trying to spill his bowl. Hardmaster was good at keeping his bowl intact. So the only difficult part was don't spill your bowl. I thought he was going to drink his water or something and then spit it all back out into the bowl. I don't know. Like, I didn't think that necessarily, but I was like, I guess that's a way you could cleverly beat the whole thing. But also, I think you could just put your bowl on the ground.
They unfortunately landed in the laziest possible account.
It taught the lesson of friendship or sharing or something.
What is he like? He's like, Hardmaster, I humbly ask for your bowl in exchange for my bowl.
Yep.
And that was it.
How funny would that be if it's like, no, it's fucking karate, dude. What do you think we're doing here?
What kind of test would that be? A test of politeness?
Yeah, everybody just laughs at him, and Storm Shadow's like, head in his hand, just, oh my god, I'm never gonna live this down. I invited the lamest guy. And then the other guy, he goes to the evil guy, and he's like, you failed the test. And he's like, yeah, why didn't you tell me what the test was before I had to take it?
Yeah,
why is this a surprise to me?
Presumably you did these, so like maybe a little help here?
But then the guy's like, what happened? Did you not do a backflip on his bowl? It's like, no, I asked for it. It's like, oh no, you're the lamest guy ever. Never will.
Why would that be the test?
Yeah. Oh my god.
They're all just polite ninjas, right? They're a whole clan of polite ninjas. They're like, can I have your bowl? I'll give you my bowl. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And
also,
technology goes a long way.
This is hardly the first American property to do this, so I'm not going to knock it too hard for this, but like, ninjas were assassins. Like,
yeah,
they weren't the honorable ones. They weren't the ones who were big on honor. They were the people who snuck into places in the middle of the night and killed people.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even have a clue what this movie thinks ninjas is. It's kind of the same way that like there's like ninjas, there's spies, there's pirates, and there's like these things that are kind of based off real things that probably happened or happened in the real world at some point. But just enough movies have come out about them that we know that there's movie pirates, and that's not really that much like real pirates, but we're all just going to pretend it is for movies. I feel like ninjas have gotten that treatment as well, right up there with Vikings. Although we're really excited about making realistic Vikings these days. But
oh man, like, you know Giant Bomb, the video game website?
Yeah.
Someone who used to work there, he no longer works there. He just left. He didn't get me too'd. I realized I said that kind of ominously. Dan Reichert has a famous bit where he discovers for the first time in his life that pirates stole things.
That's funny.
So it's kind of that level of like distortion of what those things were historically.
I feel like it's pretty weird. I also, the other thing about this test, Hardmaster has this big table of all of his weapons. I feel like you get out of the room, like you go into, you go to do the test, and you look at his table, and you're like, oh yeah, we're going to do something with the bowls, probably, right? This is probably all just like a little psych out, as otherwise why are there two bowls here? But Hardmaster's really, really sweet, and you'd never even believe it. So that's the first test, and he passes the test. Hooray.
Which, good job. You fucking did it.
Yeah. Also, we learn, this isn't like super relevant yet, but it's pretty relevant, I guess, because I already said this pretty much, that Blind Master is Daredevil. He can also tell when you lie, like Daredevil can. I assume the same way, because he can like hear your heartbeat.
An ability that comes up precisely once.
Yeah, and never at any of the other times when he's lying. Unless Blind Master knows the whole time. But like, he lies a lot in Blind Master's presence, I assume. They're all at dinner, and he's lying. So, yeah. Also, we kind of not like glossed over this point, but we did mention it. DJ or Diggins, since you brought this up, this doesn't make sense. You've actually made a mistake. You said that Snake Eyes goes and talks to the bad guy, right?
I did say that.
But that doesn't make sense because the bad guy is in Tokyo and Snake Eyes is in like the compound or whatever. How could he possibly get there without anyone knowing?
He asks Tommy to borrow his motorbike and then takes his extremely loud motorbike directly out of the front door of the compound into Tokyo.
And the motorbike, I assume, has no low jack or anything like that. There's no tracking in this motorbike, and nobody gives a shit. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm not from here or anything, but I want to take a little joyride and drive into town for no reason whatsoever.
Not the first time, no.
No, yeah, they just like totally let him. Very nice.
Well, and even the second time, it's basically like a visual race. Like like Nando said, there's no low jack. There's no I have to track the bike. It's just like, dang it, I lost him.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of silly technology that's like, holographic screens that have lots of, minority report information flying around, like
the 3D face that just spins in 360 degrees, just like over and over for no reason.
Like
also,
it's just Henry Golding's face. Like a CAD model of his face.
I mean, again, if we all had those in our house, we would have them going and spinning at all times because his face,
Yeah,
I can't blame them
of
for
Henry
that.
Golding's
That makes sense.
face, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when he is being tracked that second time, this stealthy ninja assassin who's tracking him does so by getting on a second extremely loud motorbike and staying no less than 15 feet away from him at all times.
Yeah.
How loud were the guffaws, Nando?
They were
just
pretty loud.
guffawing
Well,
up and right.
again, it was this point where I'm like, well, something else has to be going on then, I guess, right? Like, they know he's in it, or he knows, like, he told them, and this is all for show, because this doesn't make sense.
I will say, when the first twist happened, when we find out that he's working for Kenta, I was kind of relieved, because I was like, okay, so all the stuff in the past half hour that I thought didn't make any sense now makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like he or it was more like emotional stuff where it's like on the plane ride over, Tommy's like, you have to your life in LA, you'll have to abandon it. All of that's over now. Your fish chucking days are gone forever. And I'm like, he did that for like a month. Like, I don't think he had any deep attachment to that job.
Yeah.
Also, it didn't make sense that Kenta hired the professional underground cage fighting guy to just like run guns.
Yeah,
right?
to just
That didn't
stuff. Yeah, and then like at the first opportunity was like, hey, I want you to murder this man, even though it has nothing to do with your skill set. And like, I don't. It was like the most like stupid villain shit where it's like all of my minions have to be willing to do the most evil thing in the world, and if they're not, then fuck them.
Oh my god, speaking of minions, remember that point where that one Yakuza guy back in LA almost kills the soccer kids? Because they kick the soccer ball at him and he like flips his lid. It's pretty good. I was going to say, at that moment when it was revealed that Snake Eyes is working for the villains, I was also a little relieved because the thought I had immediately before that was like, this character is the most boring, bland, nothing character ever. Like, I can't believe we're this far in and I have no idea about anything. Like, how is he so nothing? And then for a second, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's why. He's pretending to be nothing, but really he's up to something else. Which lasted for like a minute or two. And then I was like, oh, never mind. That is true, but also he is still nothing. Like, I guess he wants revenge, which is interesting for a second. But I don't know, man. He gets a lot of people killed. So I got so many people killed that he kind of sucks. And this is the point where we get... Is this the point where we get involved with the Joes, or is that later? That's going to happen.
I think it's between Trial 1 and Trial 2.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah, because there's a huge gap between Trial 1 and 2, and it's like, it's weird that Snake Eyes is still involved while this is going on.
Yeah.
But basically, we get the Joes involved after it's like, oh, Kenta's in Tokyo, and then it's like, oh, Kenta's with Cobra. So if there's Cobra involved, we gotta call the Joes.
Oh, yeah, right, because then they're like, Cobra, he's like, Henry Golding's like, Cobra? Who's Cobra? And they're like, they're terrorists. They're bad guys.
Right. I think this happens after the Shinjuku fight, because he sees the big crate of guns with the Cobra logo slapped on them.
Yeah, loved it. I do want to say one other thing. Remember there was a second where it seemed like he was training with the family, with the clan?
Oh, yeah, that
doing, like,
one
drills and
montage
shit?
early on.
Yeah. Like, why? To practice for getting eaten by a snake or not?
I guess they were like, well, you're a protagonist, so you're going to pass. So we're going to start the training now. Like,
Right? Yeah.
you don't actually need to do the tests to get the training.
I mean, yeah, like it's like we have 3 tests, and also you got to do a race and not completely fuck it up, but we're not completely counting that as a test, but we will be judging you based on how well you like, because there was one thing that he does in whatever that training is, and I remember Storm shout out being like, oh, he's not as good as I thought he would be or something.
He's like, he needs work.
Yeah, and it's like, what point in the movie are we at? Are we training or are we doing tests? And it's like both. We also get the introduction to Scarlet. She is going to help out the Joes, and she has a fight in a bathroom where she beats up some guys with part of her luggage, and it's boring.
Yeah, it's not interesting.
What were those weapons that she pulled from the handles of her luggage?
They were
what were those?
I don't know, like little batons, kind of like little, I mean, from what I remember, she's crossbows, and they got the crossbow, so I guess it was just like a little weapon you threw in your luggage.
She can't pull a crossbow out of her luggage, so, we just get these little...
Yeah.
The handle breaks apart into, they just, I swear to God, looked like right angles.
Yeah.
They were just big, thick right angles.
Well, also, did the G.I. Joes fly commercial? Like, the G.I. Joe, she should have a fucking submachine gun in there or something.
I mean, to be fair, like, people in the military fly commercial, right?
I
like
guess, yeah.
Well, yeah,
when you go to war,
people in the general infantry, or GI, if you will, not the super elite task force that is the GI Joes, who for some reason have named themselves after the most basic level of the military.
Yeah.
Well, because that was the idea. Like, we're just GIs. We're just the regular guys.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very much not.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, originally it was like a joke, too, I feel like. In the first movie, in the first movie we learn, or the second movie we learn, the first guy in the
ground infantry, not general infantry. Before I get a million ats.
Oh, whatever.
Well, in the second movie, I believe we learn that the first GI Joe's name was Joe. Like, his name was just Joseph, so that's why they named him the Joes. They named it after Bruce Willis. But then, I want to say, later on, there's a joke, kind of, that's like, you're a regular G.I. Joe, like, just a boring guy, and that's, I don't know, what the fuck, stupid. The main guy's name is Duke. That's a cool name.
Well, isn't it, like, General Joe Campbell or whatever? Like, that's the...
Yeah,
they're
Joe
named
Cotton,
after him, right?
the first
Joe
one,
Cotton,
the Bruce
right?
Willis, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, they're the Joes. So... they're all named after him. That level of narcissism is like pretty incredible.
And when these action figures came out, the first one was like plain old boring army man. Here he is with a little gun and a hat. And then eventually they were like Kung Fu Grip, and this one's he's got a pet like cheetah that he uses for weapons, and this one's the water one, and he's got a little hat for water, and
Didn't one of them have a dog, Ace?
Oh, they had so many pets. I want to say the one in my head is like a falcon that was with like the wildlifey one, but also maybe I'm just confusing it with the falcon. Who else was a falcon? Basically, falcons are trainable and sick as hell. So every time you could give people pets, you give them a falcon. But anyway, yeah, G.I. Joe, she flies commercial. Oh, here's my other thing about her. She puts her phone down because she's like having a conversation with them, and she's kind of like, she's so cool you wouldn't even believe it. She like has a fight without breaking a sweat while still on the call. And you watch all of our main characters, like back at, Arashikage headquarters, watching this fight through FaceTime on this phone, and she's just taking a guy who seems pretty much down and just slamming his head into the sink, like, over and over again. I want to say maybe Henry Golding or somebody's like, it must be Henry Golding is like, who is she a good guy or something? And I'm like, what is she doing?
He says, like, who is she? And I forget if it's Akiko or Tommy, but one of them says one of the good guys while she's bashing this man's skull in on this airport like countertop repeatedly after he's no longer a threat.
Yeah, it's
they attacked
wild.
first.
That's true. She was just standing her ground.
Also, I love when she's done with the ass kicking. She just like coyly puts down like a caution, like wet, like mopping sign on the floor. It's like that does nothing. Like I don't know what you think that's gonna do, but if you're trying to hide what you just did, sorry.
I mean, also, even in the regular usage of those things, they're not like nobody go in this room. They're like, hey, be careful if you're walking here.
Yeah, and you're a fucking secret agent. Call somebody. I just don't understand what the G.I. Joes are. Like, I mean, maybe she did, but I just, like, this movie, it's not, it obviously, well, not obviously, but, like, timeline-wise, it's not a prequel to the original ones from 2010. So, if you'd never heard of G.I. Joe before at all, even a little bit, it would be so confusing, just this little introduction to them.
I mean,
like, what are the G.I. Joes? Well, but like,
I am kind of confused as a person who has no interaction with the franchise. I mean, I was just like, they said like International Military Task Force or whatever, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess that's what they are. Sure.
I guess by this point, if I just saw that scene, I didn't know anything about the G.I. Joes, and I guess I wasn't aware that the name G.I. Joe Origin is part of this title, you could convince me that's a bad guy too, or something. That would maybe be in another movie the first hint that maybe these good guys that we think are good are actually on the bad guy side or something. Like, just fucking an insane introduction of her character.
What if this movie started with the premise that G.I. Joe was taken over by Cobra?
Yo, I mean...
What if...
I wouldn't have been shocked if she revealed that she was secretly the Baroness or something at the end. If the Baroness wasn't in it.
In a good movie, like the original Kingsman, perhaps...
Oh, yeah. That's a movie, isn't it? It's a great movie.
But I'm just saying, that's a movie that, I mean, spoilers for Kingsman, I guess, but if you listen to this podcast and haven't watched Kingsman, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That's a movie that does a great, like, the benevolent, like, super spy organization you thought you were working for is actually evil.
Oh, right. Part 2. That's why I'm screaming that.
Part 2 of this 4-hour podcast.
No, sorry. I meant trial 2.
No.
Part 2 of the 3-part trials. The second trial is you think about the thing that happened to you.
It's a vision quest? Kinda?
But what is it for people that don't have revenge in their hearts?
So... What Blind Master says is the second trial forces you to confront your weakness.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess his weakness is that his dad died?
Yeah. And it's
his weakness is that he doesn't his weakness is that he's an orphan.
And I think he knows that. I think he's aware that most of his decisions are dad death motivated. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. So I guess what it's trying to say is like you're too focused on vengeance. But as I alluded to earlier, it doesn't really make him confront this because like after he in a very, I'm not quite sure what they were going for with the way they edited this scene.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess supposed to be kind of like nightmarish, but it's that kind of nightmare where it's just like, oh, the camera jumps around and sometimes the colors are different. Whoa.
Yeah, if this was regular film, you'd be like, uh-oh, the projector's broken, but it's probably digital, so it doesn't happen like that. But yeah, it's just like red sometimes for no reason.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then, like, after 15 seconds of this, maybe, of him having to relive the worst moment of his life, his ghost dad shows up and is like, hey, man, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We cool.
It's all cool.
And then he's still like, you know what? I haven't learned my lesson yet.
I haven't learned a lesson. Even though this was probably like way gentler than I could reasonably have expected this magic firefly to deliver this lesson. I have learned nothing.
That's true. We haven't really described the firefly. In the beginning, because it does turn into fireflies, but in the beginning, Blind Master just has, like, a fairy from Zelda. Like, an orb of pure blue energy just floating around.
Right?
It's real weird.
Yeah.
And no curiosity from Henry Golding.
Yeah.
Our POV
He's just
character.
like,
just
oh,
like,
yeah. This guy's got magic. Whatever.
It's so
Might
stupid.
as well happen.
Also, I think we can all agree, absolutely the worst bit of CGI in the movie.
Yeah, probably. For sure. Yeah, it has to be, right? Because what else would it be?
That little ball looked so bad.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Next thing. This is also the point when Snake Eyes has, after he found out... No, so I guess now they have to go fight, what's his name? The villain, because he's running drugs, right? Or running guns. And this is the bit that we kind of described where the fight ends for absolutely no reason. Because the editing wants it to, and it's really confusing. But that scene happens probably around now, and it's fine. I do think it's probably visually the best fight scene in the movie, which is a shame.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say, to your point, Nando, about how nobody's keeping an eye on him. The reason they end up fighting Kenta and finding the Cobra crates is because they're like, Kenta's here. We tracked him to Tokyo. Let's go bust up his shit. So, like, they tracked Kenta, but, like, are completely unaware of the fact that Snake Eyes went to the exact location where Kenta is. Like yesterday?
Yeah, and it's not like this is also all part of Kenta's plan. This goes pretty poorly for him. Like, he probably doesn't want his his guns to be found and to be Cobra related, because that escalates the situation in a bad way. It's funny. I'd like, it's just funny because even by this point, like, all this stuff just started happening. Like, it doesn't seem like this is normal for the Arashikage clan. But Storm Shadow is so trusting of Snake Eyes that I almost want a line where they're like, "Oh my god, it's what I forget. What was the bad guy's name?
Kenta.
Kenta he's in Japan," and then Snake Eyes is like, "What?" Storm Shadow's like, "I know. I've tracked his location. He was actually big coincidence at the same bathhouse you were at the other day." And he's like, "What?" And he was like, "I know, you made it out alive, which is good. He probably didn't recognize you. So next time, be more careful, because you never know when Kenta might get you." And Snake Eyes just goes like... I feel like Snake Eyes could get out of every scene in this movie and just wipe a huge, just sweat off of his brow, like, whew! I thought that was it. It really seemed like they figured it out, but I guess they didn't. I don't know.
Thank God they're fucking morons.
Morons. All of them are. The security one, also a moron. Because she's the security one. This is her job.
Well, she does everything proper-ish up to a point, right?
I mean, it's surveillance. They have surveillance stuff everywhere. You would assume there's some in the room. I don't know how he's able to sneak around within the place later.
He uses the ninja skills they taught him.
Yeah, right? This is how we ninjas evade cameras. It's actually really helpful here. We'll practice on one of our cameras up here.
Yeah. Why don't you try to evade all the surveillance here on our compound as a test of your stealth skills?
Yeah, this is how we use blood on people's, we get blood for blood scanny thingies, and, yeah, it's so...
Going all the way back to say nice things about the movie, that is one line I genuinely liked, is when he's kind of clumsily probing to see what the security on the gem is.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes is. Storm Shadow's going yes, it's this gem is our ancient task to guard it. Only those of the Arashikage family can possibly, are allowed to, touch it. And Snake Eyes is saying, well, that's a lot of protocol for just some crazy myth, right? And Tommy goes, "No, it's not protocol. We literally have a DNA lock. It has to be one of us."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the masters are also allowed to just do whatever they want with it. They could touch it too, it seems like. It's weird. Why does anyone get to touch it? They're not supposed
just
to.
In case you gotta check in on it.
Right, yeah, just to open the door and go, "It's still here, all right. Well, next time." It's like if there's a big monster down there and they put a door in every so often just so they could open up and go, "Yeah, monster's still there." And, speaking of monster still there, well, I do want to get to what I think is the most bizarre point in the movie, or is leading to that, which is Snake Eyes goes and confronts the bad guy, whose name I think is Kento. Is that right? I keep forgetting. Yeah.
Kenta, with an A.
Kenta. Okay, there you go. So he goes to confront Kenta, and Kenta, he's like, last time we met Kenta, sneaking around in a, like, bathhouse. This time we meet Kenta, some sort of giant, like, concrete warehouse with a humongous elevator and lots of, like, magic technology kind of, like, Kenta has upgraded significantly. And Snake Eyes is mad because he's like, you guys didn't tell me you were terrorists. I'm not working with terrorists.
Yeah.
What do you think they are? I thought you were the good Yakuza. The ones that sell Girl Scout cookies. No, it's fucking Yakuza. What does it matter? I didn't know you guys had a logo. I was on board till I found out you had a logo.
Well, I thought you were the friendly Yakuza from the Yakuza games who never kill people.
Yeah. When was that dance party we were going to have next time?
Yeah, that was the sleeping dogs.
I thought I was going to start like a real estate investing firm and hire a chicken.
Oh my god. Yeah. He gets so upset. He's been double-crossed in this moment for some reason. And this was for me the moment where, like, this wasn't it, but it happens later. But one of the moments where I was like, what is this guy's character? What are his values? I don't understand what he is and isn't cool with. Because again, it's not like all they seem to want now is to steal a fucking magic gem that he didn't know existed before. And probably, I mean, maybe he had the magic forest thing, so maybe now he's like a little bit more like, wow, things are magic. But as far as he knew, it's just a fucking gem. I don't know, man. It's better to steal that and give it to them than kill a human being, but he's totally cool with that. So I don't see why this is a problem.
Yeah.
Also, even just like in the structure of the movie, I mean, it's the exact same thing as the bathhouse scene. He goes in and is like, I don't like how sketchy this is. And the bad guy goes, but your father's killer. And he's like, I guess I'll do the sketchy thing. It's the same exact scene. Why do we need two of them?
Well, this one introduces the best character in the movie, so I will give this scene points for that the Baroness shows up and is insane.
That's true.
She is quite fun.
This Baroness shows up and opens her mouth, and you're like, whoa, that's an accent? All right, I'm on board again.
Yeah. Oh, man. And she does the same thing. But now she reveals that they have the guy, and they're like, we got the guy, so if you give us the Infinity Stone, we will trade you a person we have already kidnapped and tortured. So,
right?
Seems like you got what you want either way, you know?
It's like, what's the end game here?
He's punished.
What are we getting towards?
But then,
he wants
he's
to
like,
take out his own revenge with his own bare swords.
Yeah. And then that's A-okay for Snake Eyes. He's now back on board with the terrorism. And it's so funny because he's like, I don't want to, like, it's just this, like, I don't want to be a terrorist. That's bad. And they're like, but we have something you want. And he's like, you know what? Actually, it's not so bad.
I don't have morals.
Yeah, actually, I could be swayed. So then he goes and does test 3. Did either of you guys have any idea what test 3 would be after tests 1 and 2?
I was hoping for a fight.
Well, yeah.
We're going to get like a fight now?
I figured it would be some kind of like secret test of character or whatever, but I certainly did not predict the form it takes.
Yeah. Do you want to explain? Either one, you can explain how we are brought into this whole thing and what it is.
My brain will collapse in on itself if I even try.
Sure, because I was so good at the plot summary before. I'll do this one.
I thought so.
So the trial is they take him to a big hole. And I think it's Blind Master or is it Hard Master? One of the masters tells him, all right, the trial is you gotta get in the hole and then step on the big stone button on the floor.
Yep.
And then if you have a pure heart, you'll be fine. And if you don't, you'll die. And he's like, all right.
Anything you want to tell us? Anything you gotta get off your chest? This is real important.
And he's like, nope. I mean, what are the odds that there's some kind of magical lie detecting animal in there or something? I'll be fine.
Yeah, and also, what does the button do? I'm stepping on a button? I'm assuming this is going to release something, but we're also in like an underground thing. Well, what the fuck is this?
It's like a symbolic gesture.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so he gets in the hole, he steps on the button, and he waits for a little bit, and then the giant snake from the Anaconda movies comes out.
Yeah,
and it turns out that the Arashikage clan just owns 3 giant lie-detecting snakes.
That we know of. There may be way more.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, that's fair. At least 3 giant lie-detecting snakes. Mm-hmm. When I say giant, I mean, like, the head is the size of a human being.
Yeah, and I know what you're thinking, people that haven't seen the movie. That's going to be fucking awesome. When they eventually Compound gets stormed and they're like, release the lie-detecting snakes to kill all the villains. That's not what these ones are for. These are just for tests. These are not defense snakes.
Nope.
Real bummer. They will do a defense if it's part of a test, but only then.
But yeah, so these snakes spend a solid, like, 5 minutes...
Oh my god.
Just circling around him, flitting their tongues in and out, like trying to decide if he's evil or not. Because they don't work fast, I guess.
No.
Well, I think so. I read this that Snake Eyes gave the game away. That's how I read it.
What do you mean?
So, as Diggins said, they're kind of circling him, being like, oh, is he good? Is he not good? And yeah, this scene goes on for 5 minutes, and like Henry Golding has his eyes closed. Or like Snake Eyes has his eyes closed, he's peace. And then he sees like what's going on, and he's like, I did this. And he does like a little half smirk at the corner of his mouth, and then the snakes are like, wrong! And just like fucking ensnare him.
I mean, yeah, there's something too that they just like, I think because he knows that he is not pure of heart is enough to scare the snakes, which is kind of like, you could probably get away with that with a lot of animals. Doesn't really need to be like lie detecting, just like, if you trust, then you'll be okay. And
well, it's like the snakes like saw him smirk, and they're like, oh, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He thinks he's so cute.
And then he's eaten by a snake.
Yep, movie over.
Or, alternatively, maybe the snakes could tell right away that he wasn't pure of heart, but they were just so mesmerized by Henry Golding's handsomeness that they didn't want to eat him for at
Fair.
first.
Oh, yeah.
Fair, yeah. That's a good point.
It's like this would be a waste otherwise.
But then, Akiko, I still don't know why, comes and saves him.
Well, the previous night, after she distrusted him so heavily that the second that there was an alarm in the compound, she immediately went to check his rooms. It's just like
because it was him.
Yeah,
by the way,
she was correct. She was correct. But important to this point, she personally was so suspicious of him that it was her first impulse.
Yeah.
But then, while she's confronting him about it, and he's like, no, I'm in my bathrobes, so I couldn't possibly have just been in the on the other side of the compound.
I didn't do a damn thing.
He's like, also, like you, I was an orphan. And she's like, orphans can't be evil. You must be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that scene because he even like pushes his ninja pants behind the door that he's standing in front. Like he's so fucking awful at this. It almost feels like he's one level away from like being covered in a blanket under bed and I'm so tired and sick. And then if she whipped it away, his whole ninja suit would be on. Whoops, you got me. It's like.
Man. What if he had set up a Ferris Bueller distraction?
That's what I was thinking.
And that was how, like, she opened the door and she saw him get a thing move and be like, oh, I'm sick. She's like, I guess it couldn't have been him. And then we see the Rube Goldberg machine that he's made.
Right? Silly Storm Shadow. You should have given him the car and not the piano. That's what you get. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then the snakes don't eat him, and everybody gets in trouble. Everybody. Kiko gets in trouble for breaking the rules. Storm Shadow kind of gets in trouble for being upset that his new friend who he likes got in trouble for not getting, like, almost got eaten by a snake. Snake Eyes magically is not in trouble. He's okay.
Right?
They're just like, you gotta leave.
Yeah.
Well, because he told the truth. That was his reward.
But he doesn't.
Right?
He doesn't tell the truth yet, even though, right? He's just
he tells some of the truth, which is classic way to fool mystic lie detectors is say something that is true, but not the whole truth.
Exactly.
So he admits that like his entire thing is like he wants vengeance on his dad's killer, and that's why his heart's not pure. which is true. So Blind Master's like, that's true.
And then I feel like you'd be like, wait, Tommy, did you never talk to him about this? Tommy's like, we mostly just talked about swords. Oh my God, Tommy, stop bringing people here that have revenge in their past and not asking them about it.
Just because they save your life after you infiltrate the Yakuza where they all know who you are.
Yeah. Well, with the beard, you can barely tell it's him. You know, different guy as far as he's concerned.
Well, it's also, too, it's like, of course, the fucking, the one time where, we get someone in here who, like, the security expert's like, we can't trust him, we can't trust him, we can't trust him. She's the one who's like, well, I guess I'll save him because, orphan or whatever.
Yeah. And Henry Golding, as we all know.
Fucking storytelling.
But yeah, so he's just allowed to leave. Even though he knows all the secrets, he did the tests, he could tell anybody about them. You would assume, go on the news tomorrow and be like, guys, there's big old snakes. They're in this place. If you go there, you'll be like, this doesn't seem like the place that would have them. But then you look and there's like silly laser beams everywhere. It's very clear they're up to something, but no.
Also, they don't suss out that he works for the rival Yakuza, and then it's like, oh, shit.
You get to the end of the movie, like, I mean, they find out. When do they find that out?
Only
I guess
when he steals the gem.
Yeah. But did they know that they know that he probably stole it, right? Or do they...
She catches him stealing the gem.
Right, yeah. How is he able to steal it? I can't remember. Like, get away with it even though be caught.
So this is like the fun part. So the first time the alarm goes off, they're like, everyone's so, oh my God, how did he get over the fence? And the Akiko's like, maybe the call came from inside the house, because it did, because it was Snake Eyes. But then Snake Eyes leaves the compound and just magically gets over the fence, because he's just too good for two little lasers that are, fucking 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Also,
oh my God. How are those lasers protecting anything?
Also, although like motion detectors on the roofs of the houses in the compound, he gets over them without triggering them, but puts little devices on them that makes them explode and set off the alarms, even though he already got past all the alarms without setting them off.
Yeah. I feel like alarms like that would be set off constantly by, like, squirrels and shit, you know? Like,
yeah, I don't think motion detectors are really meant for, like, outside.
Yeah. But you guys, as he left, he did this thing, a very normal thing, where he cut his hand and made... What's his name? Cut his hand, and then they shook hands.
Tommy, yeah.
Blood
Tommy,
Brothers.
Made a little
yeah.
That's a thing. It's a thing they probably should have set up earlier, so it didn't be like, why is he doing this? But it is a thing.
I mean, it's a thing I've definitely heard of, at least in movies, but it's weird that they don't talk about it, and he does this thing where, like Snake Eyes puts his hand on his sword and, like, cuts it a little bit and puts his hand out, and Tommy's not like, ugh. What? Who do you think you are? I'm very rich, sir. Also, you're like I don't know what your deal is. What's going on with your blood? I'm not touching bloods to your blood. I don't know.
We literally could not find your records. That was one of the problems Akiko had. No fingerprints. No nothing.
Like, did you wash your hands before this? We have to talk about it. But anyway, that is also part of a plan to get blood, which is part of the biometric scan, which, like, when he's told it's like a biometric blood thing, I figured that just meant fingerprints, but apparently it means they take your blood in like a finger prick kind of thing to get into this thing that has the Infinity Stone in it, which is pretty wild.
Also crazy given how he eventually does get in.
Oh, so crazy. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does help that, unlike fingerprints, DNA is real.
And it's just one of those things that's, like, so easy. Like, it's, you just insert your napkin into the thing, and then it takes it and figures out what's blood and what's napkin.
The napkin of your, like, visibly dried, crusty blood.
Yeah.
Right.
So he goes in.
All good here, Chief.
Takes the stuff, leaves, and this is where my brain explodes.
Okay.
Snake Eyes goes to the docks to meet with Kenta.
You did
a bunch of goons. I know, right? It took me a second. Kenta, a bunch of goons, and the Baroness. And they all kind of explain what their deal is. Like, I want this, and you have this, and you have this, and I have this, whatever. And they're like, we have the guy that killed your dad, and he's in our little hut over here if you want to kill him. All you have to do is give me the Infinity Stone. And then he does. He actually like tosses it to Baroness, but then Kento like kind of intercepts it, and he's like, "Nah, first I get to storm the compound." Then like Baroness is cool with this, and then he goes and confronts this killer guy. A couple things. First one, we see with the Infinity Stone in action for the first time, and it's like a flamethrower kind of thing. It makes a fire happen.
If you think really hard about someone bursting into flame, then they do.
Yeah.
Again, no questions or any intellectual curiosity about what people are seeing. No one's like, oh my god, this person's basically a god now. Just like, yep, may as well happen.
He doesn't even seem particularly interested in the fact that he just found out that this stone lets you set people on fire. He's just like, oh, okay.
And like, gods are real, question mark? Like, it's more than a story. It's like, I guess.
Should I convert to Shinto? Is Amaterasu real?
Yeah.
And also, and I think this will be more of a thing later, it's actually not that cool. It's a little cool, but like, it's not that cool.
It's
like,
got a
he
big
treats
charge
it
up
like
time.
and it's just like setting you on fire. I don't know. He's still vulnerable to other stuff. Like,
some people it only sets on fire. Some people it instantly disintegrates.
yeah, that's true. A lot of it depends on your plot armor and stuff.
Level of goon.
Yeah,
that you are.
goon level is important. But okay, so then the part of the movie that actually like legitimately broke me. Snake Eyes goes into the room with the guy that's all tied up. The guy with like the silly coat on that killed his dad. We saw him in the flashback.
Yeah.
Well, the Snake Eyes guy, the guy with the guy with the fedora with the thing on the back and the safari flaps that killed his dad. And Snake Eyes is like, you killed my dad. And the guy's like, and I said this line at the exact same time because this movie's full of cliches, but he's like, you're gonna have to be more specific. I kill lots of dads. I'm a bad guy.
God.
And then Snake Eyes kind of explains it a little bit. The guy's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. I think. I don't remember exactly what he says. But in this conversation, the guy reveals that he is actually a goon, and he is part of Cobra. And he's like, I was working for Cobra. And then they backstabbed me, and now they did this. So go on and kill me. Whatever. And then Henry Golding, Snake Eyes, has his moment of clarity, which, as best as I can describe it, the logic of it is, I now understand, because the terrorists killed my dad specifically, that they are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not even just that they killed my dad specifically and lied to me about it. Like, it's not like, and I think this would have been the twist that this movie would have done, is that, like, the G.I. Joe team is actually Cobra or something like that. Like
yes.
And then you're like, oh my god, I've been manipulated by who I thought was the good guys. And, now I see through the ruse. But he got no additional information. Doesn't matter who this guy is. He's still a guy that killed your dad on the orders of people. These guys clearly would have done that. They're not the not dad killing type. And I swear, this, like, he learns this and, like, has, like, a little, oh my god. And he thinks and changes his heart. And then he frees the guy. He's still a fucking murderer.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, okay, like, yeah, you've learned not to focus on revenge and that you shouldn't murder people. Like, that's good. Maybe, like, leave him chained up, tell the police he's there or something.
Yeah, go free, poor murderer. You clearly were betrayed by Cobra, like I was, and I'm a good guy, which means you're a good guy. Like, blew my mind. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Also, like, what did the Baroness think he was gonna do? Was she just begging on him, killing him instantly, and asking 0 questions?
I mean, I think the Baroness at that point was like, well, I mean, he's down with the terrorism stuff. He probably won't be psyched when it turns out we're the terrorists that killed his dad, but, like, I don't see why that is some sort of moral line that he can never have crossed.
Yeah, why is it like a deal breaker?
Yeah, he really does just go like, wait, I thought these were good international terrorists. Now that I understand what happens, they are actually bad. Like, this is the thing that happens at this point in the movie when the bad guy switches sides. Like in a movie where, like, Sabretooth and Wolverine are fighting, like that one where they do that, Wolverine has always been trying to kill the bad guys. But then the guy that's working with the bad guys is like, I was betrayed. And then he, like, you know, gets to be good for a little bit of the movie and then probably die as redemption. But this is the hero arc. It's so weird.
What if at the end of this movie it turns out that the main character was actually the guy who goes on to be Storm Shadow and Tommy is Snake Eyes?
Would it make complete sense if they changed like two things? Yeah, there were like, I think you could have done it if the relationship with the, like, see, it's so weird because Tommy can't, in this movie, Tommy's arc is, and we've kind of gotten to it, it's just like nice, trusting guy, wants to be in charge of the family, kind of doesn't get along with Akiko, but also, like, I don't know, it's like they don't hate each other. They just have like a little fun jabs at each other from time to time. And he's probably stuck up. And also once, I want to say, he's like, we protect the power, but we never use it. And maybe if we did, it would be kind of cool. But anyway, and that's it. And then that's his whole arc. And I feel like if you gave him a little bit more of like a reason to trust him that wasn't just like, I was tricked. If it was like, I see there's good in you, then he is 100%. He is going to be Snake Eyes in the end of this movie. Like, they'll switch names and it makes more sense too, because, like, I don't know, I like that actor, but like, I like his character more. He's the one that would be fun in the future, and then this other guy sucks. So yeah, makes total sense. But no, they didn't do that. And then there's a big showdown. Mm-hmm. They have fighting and stuff. Yeah,
they got a big fight on the backs of cars, and Tommy's like, "I'm gonna fight you," and Snake Eyes is like, "I'm not gonna explain anything, and will agree to the fight."
Yeah, that was so weird. Because also it's like, who cares? Again, and not even who cares, but it's like, you know he's bad, he took the thing, but like, I think it is funny that they follow him, and then while this is going on, there's the whole, like, siege of the, I already forgot their name. The
Arashikage.
Arashikage, yeah. Their whole thing is getting destroyed. And it's funny to me that there's not a point, at least that I can remember, where Storm Shadow gets that information. He almost is like, we gotta get you and then get home so we can stop them from killing my mom or whatever. Like, yeah. He's just so, like, it's so weird and matter-of-fact to him. At the same time as all the car stuff, which probably also looks cool, except I think it's shot weird. We see Kenta and the Baroness a little bit, not really though. Like, she's around, taking on the Arashikage and, like, just wrecking shop. Did either was like, what the Arashikage? Did they stink?
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand.
It's Hard Master and Blind Master, and, like, that's it.
They adhere to the basic cinematic law of the conservation of ninja,
right?
Which is, the more ninja you have on screen, the less effective every individual ninja is.
Love that.
So
yep.
if you got like 50 of them, like, on screen all doing a fight, each individual one is like dog shit. But if you've got one ninja doing a fight, then that guy is like unkillable.
I love that. That is totally it. And I guess even beyond that, my question. So, like, what did Kenta always wanted revenge? It's all he's ever wanted. He wanted to kill all the guys and take over and stuff. The only thing standing in his way, he didn't need to, like, undermine their trust or anything. He just needed the magic rock. The magic rock is essentially a bazooka at its best, like, moments.
Sure.
A bazooka with a lot of ammo, but, like, his big moment is he blasts through the front door and explodes it, and the guys on the other side of that door are like, what? As if they don't have cameras in front of their door, or, like, they're there to get killed. But, like,
yeah,
what he did is not very impressive. It's tough, but I feel like if the G.I. Joes or Cobra, they all they have is weird fucking guns and weapons and vehicles and stuff. They could easily take this.
I did kind of love in this final climactic fight scene, whenever Scarlet or Baroness does it, they just, like, pull out an Uzi and fucking shoot everybody.
Yeah!
And I was like, yeah, okay. That is much more effective than anything anyone else is doing.
Right, and, like, okay, so let's say you're the Arashikage, and you're so honorable because the movie is written poorly, but, like, that's your thing, and you're good with swords, especially, like, Blind Master, Hard Master. It's like, we're gonna send them out even though the other guys have like super weapons or whatever, they're going to do pretty well because they're swords. And that's like a, almost like a tenet of the G.I. Joe universe that always made Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes make sense. However, when you're Kenta and you've decided that you're going to go in to the compound and kill everybody with your magic rock, all your guys get guns too now.
Especially because
we're done with swords.
You have been smuggling guns into the country. This is an explicit plot point.
I don't understand what his deal is and what his, morality or, what he cares about is. He just, it's so dumb. Because he must know. I mean, he knows that his guys aren't as good as their guys because they have Hard Master and Blind Master who are the best too. So it's almost just like he's like, well, the rules are I have to kill a bunch of ninjas because they have to give these 2 fight scenes. But if I want to get my revenge, then I'm going to still pretend that I'm not using a big weapon to blow stuff up. The bit where Baroness and Scarlet shoot is so funny.
How about the fact that they just skip a whole fight scene?
It's the worst. It's
and that could have been their cool girl power moment, but nope.
Oh my god, yeah. They did the fucking boys. I just watched that scene the other day. You know what I'm talking about, DJ, right?
Yeah.
Diggins has... Have you watched The Boys?
I have not watched The Boys. I've been meaning to.
It's got its moments.
Season 1's better than season 2.
Ever since You're the Worst ended, I just love seeing Chris Gere and Aya Cash, I want them to be happy.
And you'll love, I think there's the fun of it. I think The Boys works really well when it's making fun of, obviously when it's making fun of superheroes, but the superhero media is great. And at one point they're filming a movie in universe that is essentially the Avengers for the superheroes that exist. So it's this weird fluffy propaganda for them. And at one point, one of the heroes that is a girl,
like the actual Avengers movie's relationship to the U.S. military.
Yeah. If the Avengers were, it's like a Michael Bay movie, really. But they specifically, one of the girls picks up a thing. The one guy's like, "Who can take this magic, weapon all the way over there?" And one of the girls picks it up and walks into a different frame where the other 2 girls are standing, and then they're like, "Girls get it done. We got this," as a parody of Avengers, but even worse. And then they do it in this movie. It's so that it was so bad.
But they don't even do it well. They do it cheaply and stupidly.
Yeah, they're just we're 3 girls. The end.
I also love there's a
no fight. That's it.
There's a later part where they do it again, where it's just Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Akiko. And there's some dudes on the other side of the room, but Snake Eyes and Tommy have to keep going. So Akiko's like, "I'll take care of this," and turns to have her cool fight. But then the camera just keeps following Snake Eyes and Tommy, and we don't see her.
Yeah. And there's even there's another one of those too. This movie loves starting fight scenes. Remember when the Hard Master is having his little bit where he's chilling in his fighting arena area, and the guys come and they're like, "Oh my god, the Hard Master." And you're like, "Oh, this is finally going to be at least one. We're getting at least one cool scene." And that one is also over in a second. He just pushes them all real good, and then they all die. So the martial arts parts of this movie are so nothing. But
yeah, it's such a fucking sham.
At least one character does something truly amazing in this scene, or in this bit. The Blind Master, turns out, is also a master of disguise. And he has
oh my god, yeah.
He's holding over himself. What the heck is that? Is that part of his deal? I don't know too much about the masters and all that. Pretty much nothing. I don't. I imagine they didn't come with little tarps. And then the commercial was like, "And you can't even find my blind master. He's in the woods." And the kid takes the tarp off, and it's the action figure. It's so weird that they put that in there. And it's just and also the whole fight scene happens, and then the guys are like, "Oh, Blind Master, you got good hiding spots." There's shit going on, dude. You're the best one. How are you hiding?
Yeah, what are you hiding from?
Yeah,
you could take the guys, right?
Yeah,
I guess the one guy has the gem.
Luckily, nobody important dies in this scene, but like matron, whatever, she is done for. Like in a scene like this,
Yeah,
100%, and it is all on the blind master's shoulders. Maybe they were just like, maybe the guys were like, the blind master, the master of disguise. Before we kill her, we have to find him. And then they did like a little hide and go seek. And they were like, Miss Hide and Go Seek, one from that Hide and Go Seek movie. You're on the other guy team. So we have 2 Hide and Go Seek champions. But also one thing that's wild, Baroness becomes a good guy for a little bit. Because who cares?
Well, she got the dubs crossed. She got double crossed, so that's
Yeah,
it.
Kenta is like, I'm not going to hand over the gem, actually. You know, you can just deal with it. He does nothing to, like, restrain her or, like, beat her up. Doesn't try to set her on fire. He just, like, says out loud, I'm going to betray you, and then turns his back to her.
Like, he lets her, like, her whole thing to switch sides is just she walks around to the other side of the room. Like, there's nobody between her and that. It's fine.
Yeah. And Scarlet is just like, oh, hey, girl, you want to do, like, a team up for a little bit?
Yeah.
Like they're friends.
And like we give a shit. Yeah. Like, it's...
Yeah, right.
This is the first movie in this weird little G.I. Joe-verse. And it's like, we're having that, like, they got past their differences and they're finally fighting side by side. Except it's the first G.I. Joe guy and the first Cobra guy we've ever met. Like, in the future, when she does super terrorism and kills everybody in, like, you know, the Sydney Opera House or whatever, this one's kind of on you, Scarlet. You let her go?
Yeah. It'll be fun to be like in the future, yeah, when she does like her super terrorism, to just cut to Scarlet being like, "Oh, hey, girl."
Yeah.
Remember that team up we had?
Yeah.
Girls get it done, am I right?
Girls get it done. Remember when we all stood next to each other? I mean, I guess she wasn't there for the pose, but Jesus Christ, remember the pose?
Oh no, she was there for the pose, Nando.
Is she part of the pose? Oh my God. How did she get in the pose? What? Oh my God, the pose is so amazing. This movie is really, the more I talk about it, the more I dislike this movie.
The pose is right before Baroness goes, actually, fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In exactly those words, except for not actually, but otherwise, right on.
Well, what Nando means by that, because I realize that sentence might be confusing for some of them, is literally she doesn't say the word actually. She just says, fuck this.
And then leaves. And that's when the guy in DJ's theater was like, oh, right, you can leave. And then he just got up and, or in Diggins'
My
theater,
theater.
was like, I got up and
Yes.
left. Yeah. My
theater, there was no one in it, and I should have guffawed more. I should have taken that rare opportunity because, like, I wouldn't have been disrupted to just, like, guffaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only had an empty theater twice in my life, and it is luxurious.
I loved it. Oh my God. It was like it was like the actors, specifically Henry Golding in his little intro bit, might as well have said, hi, you, single person in the theater. How's it going?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to see my movie.
It was like the end of Cats when Judy Dench is talking directly to me.
Oh my God, yeah.
By the way, real quick note on that. I forgot to bring this up earlier when we talked about that. So, like, I think at the beginning of Black Widow, Kevin Feige was like, hey, thanks for coming to the theater. Or, like, someone from Marvel.
Yeah.
And
it's
that
kind of a
was,
more
like,
common thing these days, and I don't understand it.
Well, at least for that, it's like, well, you had the option, right? You could either go to the theater or see it on Disney Plus,
or spend
like,
$30 American dollars.
Hey, if you got a family of 4, it's totally
Yeah, it totally
evens
makes
out.
sense for families. I completely acknowledge that. But for me, the single human male who has no one who loves him, makes no sense at all.
Anyway, yeah, Kevin Feige.
Yeah, so in that case, you get the choice. But, like, in this case, Snake Eyes was on no streaming platform. I had to go to the theater. Trust me, if I could have watched it at home, Henry Golding, I fucking would have.
Yeah, the big screen theater experience was pretty much nothing here. I think, I mean, I'll tell you, they did this in Old, too. M. Night came out and thanked us. The same exact thing. I think all movies might have this now just because might as well. But back in the day, this used to happen sometimes, and it, to me,
Yeah.
always felt like oh, thank you so much. We had a lot of fun making this movie, and don't be so mean after you've seen it. Tell your friends nice things, because I'm your good friend, Henry Golding. And anyway, you're about to watch X-Men Apocalypse, and, a lot of people worked really hard on this, so, be nice. Storm.
If you say nice things about this movie, regardless of how you feel about it, I will come to your house and give you a gentle kiss on the forehead.
Holy shit, guys. We gotta delete this podcast. Never see the light of day. So then we have our moral choice. The single... Oh, I guess there's two, right? So you've got... You got the bad guy, Kenta, and then you've got Storm Shadow. And Storm Shadow has managed to get a hold of the Infinity Stone, and he's holding it, and everybody's like, don't use it. And he's like, I don't really understand the rules of why not, and also, the guy's right there. So, he uses the Firestone to do a big explosion at Kenta.
But doesn't kill him.
Does not kill him.
Now, see, in my mind, when this happened, I was like, oh, everyone's telling him not to because we just had a big thing about how, revenge murders are bad, and so he shouldn't kill him. That's the problem here, is that he tried to kill him.
I thought that, too.
Yeah, put a pin in that one, gentle listener, and we'll get back to that.
But then, everyone's just really mad that he used the rock. And then they're like, and he escaped. And I'm like, no, he didn't. And then we see him escaping, and I'm like, yes, he did. And
last time we saw this one, if you just thought about a person, they incinerated from the inside out. So I don't know how he escaped this one unless Tommy deliberately just channeled it, his rage meant an explosion was going to happen, and he deliberately channeled it to not kill Kenta because he's still a good boy.
And also, it's this part, this whole thing is meaningless. Because nothing, there's no effects. He didn't kill a guy or anything, and he just used the rock. But, I feel like maybe if he kills him with the rock, then it's like, oh, you have tainted the blood of, you've spilled blood with our stupid rock. But with this, it's like, you didn't even really do that.
You killed, your own cousin with the rock. Yeah, a member of the Arashikage bloodline, even. I can see reasons why there would be a big taboo on that, even if he is a bad dude who's in the Yakuza.
And, it's kind of a, this movie, this finale is a big old mess, but if the finale was good, that would be the way it ends, and it's like, oh, he has gone bad, and this is his, he can't turn back now. He is definitely Storm Shadow, the one from the toys. But instead, he doesn't kill him. And then that guy runs away. He's running into the forest, because I guess that's his plan. And who to our wandering eyes does appear, but a certain ninja guy.
Yeah.
Not the blind master. Not the hard master.
Right.
Not Akiko.
Boxcars.
Yeah. That's yeah. Oh my god, is that what they call the a knockoff action figures? Boxcars and silhouette.
No, that's double sixes.
Yeah, that's
right?
2 6s.
Oh,
Boxcars.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I know. I thought you were going for that's the knockoff Snake Eyes villain would be Boxcars.
Oh yeah, that's
right?
true. That would be that. But anyway, it is Snake Eyes, you guys. He shows up and he's chasing Kenta, and they fight a bit, and he's got this moment where he's like, I'm not gonna kill for revenge because I'm better than that. I'm a good guy now. I'm a good ninja. And you're like, uh-oh. He's kind of screwed then. And I guess he isn't going to kill him by, slitting his throat. But he is totally cool with putting him into a situation where he is killed.
Well, yeah. Didn't you watch Batman Begins?
Right? Yeah. Well, it's like Batman Begins, except he also puts what's-his-name on the train.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
He pulls the guy down into the thing.
Yeah, he just doesn't save Ra's al Ghul. This is totally Snake Eyes' doing.
It is premeditated murder, but just it's
via giant magic snake.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a mobster, and he's like, I won't kill you, but these cement shoes might, and he throws him off the dock, and it's, who could tell who killed him? Maybe it was the shoes or the water.
I think it was gravity.
Yeah, it could have been anything. Yeah, no one can survive a fall. I mean, it is a big fall too. It would be funny if he just if Kenta just fell, like, bonked his head and died. But yeah, then the snakes are activated. Kenta manages to kill one of the snakes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's an option.
Yeah,
But then
you
the other
can
ones
just
get
cut
him.
off their heads with
Yeah.
your big swords that you're allowed to take into the snake hole.
They're big weird snakes. You just start stabbing, maybe, you know, like can't hurt. Maybe you'll get them. But
Well, it can hurt. That's the point.
oh, that's a good point. They then they have the test of purity of heart and stuff.
Right. But Kenta cuts off a snake head, and he's like, it doesn't matter that I'm full of evil. But then a second snake just comes from off screen and eats him.
He eats him up big time.
But it
So
eats him
dumb.
up while Snake Eyes is attached to him via chain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How does that end? I forget.
So
The one snake is like, you're cool now. And like,
yeah, basically, yeah, the
bites it
one
off.
snake can stop its own stomach muscles from like processing
yeah.
Kenta
okay.
down and leaves him dangling out of his mouth, and the other snake is like, I'm judging you, and then judges him worthy and bites the chain so that he can not be eaten by the other snake.
Yeah. I don't think. Do we see him get out of the pit? Probably not. Right.
No, I do not think so.
Like maybe the snakes lift you out of the pit. That's fine. I'd also like to believe that you need to be lifted out of the pit, and then at the end of the whole thing, everybody comes and he's just like riding snakes for fun. Like they're in there having a blast. Him and the two living snakes, and they're just like, "Wow, you really love the snakes, Snake Eyes. You're a real snake fella." Also, what
That's
happened
what
to
he
that
goes,
other
guys,
snake?
my actual name is Francis.
Yeah.
Francis. No, stay with Snake Eyes.
Oh, yeah, Snake Eyes.
You're
for
not
sure.
much of a Francis.
I mean, it
What if
doesn't
it-
make a whole lot of sense. You're going to have to explain to people what the deal is with Snake Eyes, and you have to carry around those dice all the time, but it sounds kind of cool.
What if it turns out that the snakes aren't magic, and whether or not they eat people is just like whether or not they've eaten recently?
The
Yeah,
time of day, yeah.
that's true.
And like they've been basing this like secret test of heart this whole time on a bunch of snakes that are actually just hungry sometimes.
Well, yeah, because that is, no one can commune with the snakes. They say that the giant anacondas judge you and stuff, but like, I mean, I don't know if that's like the mythology surrounding those animals, but like, it's not like
The
mother who's in
giant
charge of this
anacondas
says
that
that.
live in Japan. Those animals.
No, I'm not the real ones, but like if there's some sort of fictional snake that everybody knows, like, you know, if it's like I don't know, like the Phoenix, where we all kind of know the rules of it anyway. This seems like a rule this clan invented, which is at some point someone either trained these snakes or could talk to them. You got a Voldemort somewhere in Japan running around.
Admittedly,
As part of the Ashikage clan.
my knowledge of Japanese mythology is very limited, so I'm not going to say that there's nothing like that. However, the only snake-esque Japanese myth I'm aware of is the Tsuchinoko, a big fat little snake with little stubby wings, and as far as its relation to evil, it only lies.
Oh, that's a cool snake. That should have been in there. What if it was just that guy? Like, tells lies to the Tsuchinoko and was like, this is a real thing? And everybody was like, yeah, this is from myths and stuff. And he was like, cool.
Follow up.
It'll ask you for alcohol, and if you give it to you, we'll answer questions, but it only lies.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Who started, like, the first trials?
I mean, it was like 400 years ago, right? So,
So someone just jumped into the snake pit and be like, all right.
I mean, they have to make the snake
do
pit, you would
this.
assume, right? It's built for this.
Right. So, yeah, but well, I see DJ's point. Who figured out that the snakes detect evil?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't think they do. I think that's just an assumption. I think that's just a way that they justify it. Like, they have, like, some recruits, and it's like, snakes ate them. I guess that means they probably were evil or something. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Also, it's weird that this clan doesn't, like, it's not like they have, like, snakes everywhere and, like, seem to really worship snakes. It's
Yeah.
not their
Yeah.
deal.
It seems to exist for the irony of the fact that the main character is named Snake Eyes, but
Right.
he just came here. He has nothing to do with their history, and the name comes from dice.
Yeah. Also, what do those snakes do when they're not doing snake stuff? Do people feed them? Do they slither around underneath Japan? What's the deal? Is there a guy who's in charge of like, you know, in the snake stables, just feeding and brushing the snakes?
When the snakes showed up, was Snake Eyes like, that explains the, like, dead cows that your servants have been dumping into the hole every day.
Yeah, right. I feel like I feel like they could get to this movie, like the end of Act 3, or not Act 3, Challenge 3, and Snake Eyes would get out of the thing if it went well, and he'd be like, "You guys would never believe it. What I saw down there was snakes, and that must have taken the form of my fear or something." They're like, "No, we do snakes sometimes. It's not a you thing. We just like snakes." I don't know.
Just got the big snakes.
Yeah. I mean, you got 3 big snakes. You're not going to use them for tests? Of course you are.
You know what would have been good? Instead of him having the weird Snake Eyes name because of the dice, if, like, after everything's said and done, they're like, "We will now call you Snake Eyes."
Yeah.
Because you passed this snake test. Like, well, doesn't everyone? It's like, yeah, but we're going to call you Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
also,
you really have eyes of snake. It's definitely more of a you thing.
He only goes by Snake Eyes the whole movie. And it's like, why? You were clearly like 10 or whatever when your dad died. So you knew what your name was. And there's a kind of an attempt at justifying it where he's like, "I looked into it later and, all the info on my dad was faked, even our names." And it's like, he maybe it's not like literally your government name, but he called you something and that's your name. That's how names work. It wasn't not your name because it's not on your social security card.
Yeah. What happens when he meets a girl or something, And it's like during the course of a day, "Hi, my name's Snake Eyes." Like, what's your real name? No, it's Snake Eyes. That's what we're doing here.
So I guess this leads to a very important question. Given that he is A, Henry Golding, but B, a weird drifter who only goes by Snake Eyes, has Snake Eyes fucked?
Yes. I would say yes, he has.
DJ?
I don't think...
Yeah, he's too handsome to have not. So I'm also going to say yes.
Yeah, I think he could have a one-night stand where at the end, afterwards, she's like, "What's your name, by the way?" And he's like, we're done here, so I'm not going to bring it up because it'll just bring up more questions than it's worth. So I'm gonna go. It's been real.
I'm gonna go with no.
You don't think?
I don't think he's fucked. Now there's probably been people who are interested, but A, he probably smells really bad. So
yeah, that's fair.
People approach him and then they're like, "Oh, never mind."
Well, is he like a vagrant or does he have like an apartment in L.A.?
We never find out. But
I assume he has like a life. But anyway, B.
I feel like whenever anyone like comes up to him and is like, "Hey," he just starts talking about his vengeance quest.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Never mind. I don't need all this baggage.
I think he had at least one night stand where things just really clicked. But he definitely hasn't had like a girlfriend or anything, or a boyfriend or whatever. But I mean, the thing about Snake Eyes that I always kind of got, he's like silent in the cartoon and in the he's just a guy. So like, whatever information we learn from this should be meaningless because all it leads to is there is a guy who we never see the face of who does stuff with a sword sometimes, and he knows Storm Shadow, and he like kind of, they both exist so they can sword fight each other. But, like, he doesn't, have, like, we don't need to learn about him. He's mysterious.
Yeah, it's, like, kind of the idea. Right?
It would be really funny if they keep making these movies and they keep bringing back Henry Golding to stay in the full-body costume and mask the whole movie and say nothing.
They can't.
Like Ryan Reynolds does for Deadpool, apparently. But, yeah, and just, like, tilt his head a little bit, and you're like, that's fucking Henry Golding under there. I've seen that head tilt before. But also, like, another reason why the other guys should do it. Koji, because he's just better stuntman. Like, why? I guess with him you want... See, like, Storm Shadow also has a mask on most of the time, though. His face is almost always covered. So it's like, neither of them need to have a face. That would be stupid. There is one more revelation, real quick. I don't think we mentioned this yet, right? About the dad.
Oh, yeah.
In case people didn't think this movie was stupid enough. As after it's all over, what's her name? Scarlet comes in and she's like, "By the way, your dad's a G.I. Joe. Isn't that interesting?"
What do these words mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
So
she's like, the commander wanted me to give you this file telling you all about your dad. And he's like, and you couldn't, like, at no point in the past 20 years you could have given this to me? I know you said you, like, I wasn't there and you couldn't find me, but, like, I haven't exactly been low profile.
Yeah.
Would it have been that? And you're, like, the greatest global counterterrorism military intelligence operation in the world. You couldn't have spent like a couple weeks tracking me down or something.
Right? Like, you kind of assumed at the end, not you would assume at the end of this movie, because the movie doesn't, right when we learn about the G.I. Joes, someone's like, they're the Joes, the best super spy guys, you wouldn't believe it. But I think you could, like, do a version of this movie where at the end, Scarlet's just like a friend of theirs, and she's like, by the way, I've always wanted to start something called G.I. Joe. You want to be friends, Snake Eyes? Me and you will do it, and then we'll find more people, because clearly we have no resources or intelligence or special training. Besides, I have a crossbow, and you're a ninja already. So, like, there's no reason we should, like, nothing has led us to believe that there's a larger organization behind us. It's just us.
It's true.
Yeah, might as well be us. But then it turns out Storm Shadow quits.
Yes. So
for some reason.
Remember, gentle listener, when we were like, it would make sense that the movie would be like, revenge killing someone is bad. Well, it turns out that actually just using the gem is bad.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm Team Storm Shadow. He got such a raw deal.
Yeah.
Like, this is bullshit.
He just wanted to have a nice friend. That's all this character wanted. He, like, was going to take over the organization, but he's not, like, the scheming second in command who wants to kill someone to get in charge. He's just going to be in charge. So, like...
Yeah.
He just wants one friend.
Yeah. When my grandma dies, I'll be in charge. And, like, I'm completely fine with that. She can totally be in charge for the rest of her natural life. I love and respect my grandmother.
And I don't have anything really that radical that I want to do with the group. I have a couple of questions about the magic rock, but otherwise I seem relatively committed to the mission of the Ashkakage. Yeah. Like, everything's going to go same.
I say we need to adapt with the times, but for the most part, that just means that I think we should have my cool friend be part of the clan.
Yeah, and maybe, like, have doors that you can't explode. You know, like, small things like that. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I clearly am very committed to this group.
But you touch the rock once, so you can never be head of the clan for the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's so stupid, because also the whole rock thing, there's no reason why he gives a shit. Like, why in the moment does he even use the rock? Who cares?
Just blind rage, I
guess. It's not like he is, like, so intoxicated by the power of the rock that he uses it. It's that he's so mad at Kenta.
Right. And even then, I'm like, why are you that mad? I get why you're mad at Kenta a little bit. It's because you really don't like him.
Well,
but, like,
he's his cousin who tried to kill him.
For sure. You know? But everybody does that. It's G.I. Joe. Use the sword to kill him. That's fine. You've got all the weapons still. You're just closer to this rock. But everybody's like, put the rock down. Don't use the rock. And he's like, I will. But it's, just like, almost like his grandma should have been like, use this dagger instead. Here.
We don't care if you kill him. Just draw your sword. As long as you don't use the rock, it's totally chill.
Yeah.
These rules are arbitrary. Oh my god.
And and he takes off his ring, which is the thing that what's his name usually has on his shoulder. I never knew what it meant. I assumed it was something like this. Something related to the clan.
Ashkakage.
And for some reason, at the end of the movie, Storm Shadow leaves, and now Snake Eyes is, like, in charge, kind of. Like, he is totally let back in.
Yeah, man. Team Storm Shadow. Like, he is the wronged party in this movie. He is the victim.
And, like, I could see a version...
like, oh, sorry, no, you go, Nando.
I was just gonna say, I could see a version of the movie where at the end they're like, the Snake Eyes, or Storm Shadow does his whole business, and he takes off his ring and throws it away, and then gets on a motorcycle and, like, drives out, and everybody's, all the masters, and the mom, and, I already forgot her name. I want to say Akira, but that isn't it.
Akiko?
Akiko, yeah, there you go. Akiko and Snake Eyes are all just sitting there, and they're like, I can't believe he left. Snake Eyes is like, don't worry, I'll go bring him back to the clan. And they're like, oh, are you kidding me? You're fucking out of here, dude. You are not part of this. You came back, which was nice, but you're responsible for all of this, and you're working with Cobra while they were Cobra. Like, you're bad. We're not going to kill you again. We're being very nice. Like, we were nice the first time. We're going to be really nice now, but you can't be part of this. But, yeah, he, like, sidles his way in. Honestly, this movie's like Parasite. It's about, like, a guy who is Snake Eyes, who like sneaks into this family and edges Storm Shadow out. He's the villain.
So what you're saying, Nando, is that in the movie Parasite, the upper class family does nothing wrong and are the innocent victims.
That's exactly right. I read that movie that way, and yeah, and I think I'm right. Everyone knows that. What were you going to say, Diggins, about the end of them pursuing Storm Shadow and stuff?
But yeah, so like they tell Tommy this, that like he can never be head of the clan. We'd rather let the clan die than let a man who touched the rock once be in charge. And so friendly, nice Tommy, whose main character trait thus far has having an absurd level of trust in Snake Eyes.
Mm-hmm. And honor. Very honorable.
And honor, like, flies off the fucking handle and like swears revenge on everyone present and quits forever.
He really does just go like, no, you know what? Fuck this. I'm Storm Shadow now. G.I. Joe 2. Peace. And then just leaves.
Yeah. There, and I will say, like, it's totally a raw deal, but they are like, you don't have to leave. Like, you're still a member of the clan. You could be even a member of, like, great power and influence. You just won't be in charge. And he's like, no, fuck this. Fuck,
he never even cared about being in charge, really.
Fuck the thing I have built my entire life around up until this point. Literally the only thing I've ever known. If I can't be in charge of it, then fuck all of it. I'm gonna go be a terrorist now.
And also, I mean, like, I do think, like, they're like, you will never be in charge of the clan. We'll let the clan burn to the ground. What's the clan? Everybody was killed yesterday, and all the buildings got burned to the ground. What room are we even in? Like,
I think the entire clan is in this room.
Yeah. Start your own clan. I'm starting a Arashikage too. Anybody want to join? My good friend Snake Eyes, it seems like you'd probably want to join. One of the masters, you'll probably want to join as well. I'm going to inherit all the money because I'm still the blood, you know, so I'm still
your
going to be
grandson,
the same clan.
And also, you're all older than me and are going to die before me.
Yeah, we'll call it Arashikage Plus or something. Everybody will know it's the same thing, but like a little better. And yeah, I don't understand. But it is just like, and I think you could show this movie to someone that doesn't know it's related at all to G.I. Joe, doesn't know what G.I. Joe is, and then at the end they'd be like, this is like a toy or something, right? There's got to be some reason why he goes bad at the end. It's a cartoon.
I was saying this to DJ before we started. I had no idea the character Storm Shadow existed. When I was watching this movie, I thought the Tommy character was an invention for this movie and like had no relation to a previously existing character.
Yeah.
So I was totally blindsided by this. I was like, what the hell? Why? And then I was like, oh, he's like a thing, right? He's like a guy from the cartoon, I guess. Because that's the only way this makes any sense.
Yep. His whole character is bad and white instead of black robes and two swords instead of one sword. And bad. So he got the white, he had the two swords, so he just needed to get the bad by the end of the movie. I like the white. It's a good look for him. You know, the suits and it's cool.
Yeah, he looks cool.
You didn't think he'd be able to pull it off, but he does. And, and then, what's his name puts on a motorcycle helmet, the magic motorcycle helmet of Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
It's so weird that Snake Eyes doesn't have visible eyes.
Akiko gives him
think that stands for?
I don't know. Akiko gives him the suit, like, she's like, here, if you're going to go do this, then here is the ancient suit of the Arashikage. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This hasn't been in the movie until this point. This means literally nothing to me, person who doesn't know what Snake Eyes looks like.
Yeah. I do think it's funny. I don't know. I feel like the G.I. Joes are identified by like a silly name, some sort of characteristic that's like what their specialty is. And then a lot of the times their relationship to some bizarre vehicle. And I guess he's just like the motorcycle guy. I do think it's so funny that, like, we know nothing about the Arashikage plan besides they have the magic, like, Infinity Stone that they've had forever, and they, like, do stuff behind the scenes, and also they have a very well, like, resourced motorcycle garage where they invent motorcycles. Like, you'd almost assume these guys are a motorcycle company as a front or something. But that's just, like, a thing. I guess Tommy really likes them, so they, like, keep making them for him. Ugh. So what's the post-credit scene?
Oh, my God. This actually felt like the thing you said where it's like, I'm Storm Shadow, bitches.
Yeah.
It's me.
You want to describe it, DJ?
So, Tommy is just, like, on a plane that I guess he got to keep, or that he had stashed somewhere, and that the Arashikage didn't, like, freeze all of his assets immediately. Whatever.
Yeah.
So the Baroness is on. I don't even remember what she says. She's like, you can be Cobra now work with us.
First, she pretends to be a stewardess as though he didn't look directly at her face for several minutes and would recognize her. Also, not to mention the fact that her, like, insane accent is not shared by any other human being on Earth.
Yeah, she does try to blend in on his private jet. Or whatever, and then she just sits down and has a drink with him. That's weird.
Yeah.
She's like, do you want to work for Cobra? And he says, call me Storm Shadow. And that's the whole conversation.
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like by this point, they must have done, like, lots of focus testing and stuff. I don't know if they knew this movie wasn't going to really hit the way they thought it was, but I feel like they probably knew. Don't put those in. It's so embarrassing. Just leave it out. I get you don't want to change the whole movie and it's too late, but, like, you don't need to put that little scene in.
If you're gonna do that, you gotta tease, like, a new character.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh my God, it's Duke, or like whatever.
Destro, another guy from these.
Yeah, be like, do you want to join? If you want to join Cobra, then you got to get the approval of the commander, and then Cobra Commander shows up for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, with this silly little hood. That would have been pretty cool.
Jared Leto steps into view.
No!
Hello!
Another finger curls on the monkey's paw.
Yeah, let there be carnage. All great stuff. This movie,
Storm Shadow, it seems that you lived in a society.
Yeah. Oh, I hated it.
I would love a Jared Leto Cobra Commander.
He'd probably be okay at it. I mean, it'd be great. We wouldn't have to look at his face. If they did it right. He'd probably be like, but actually, I want to have, you could see my face. Jesus Christ. Jared, we can't let you do these demands. He'd send some interns to throw a dead cobra onto the table during the first table read of the movie or something. He's the worst. Speaking of the worst, I mean, we're never going to get another one of these, right? There can't be.
I don't know.
Not with those box office results.
Yeah. How much did it cost to make? Was it an expensive movie?
Oh, it had to be.
Will IMDb tell me?
Did it,
do they
though?
Not?
Wikipedia usually lists it in the box.
Yeah. Box office, like, IMDb actually usually does have it. It's just like IMDb changes its fucking layout every week, so it's impossible to find anything useful. Oh, okay. $88 million estimated. Opening weekend in U.S. and Canada, 13 mil. So, like, not great, but I don't know what the worldwide numbers are like. And, I mean, it's, I'm sure they're banking on an international audience enjoying it.
Box Office Mojo as of July 26th only has 18.7 million. Like, just
has it opened in like Canada and in like Japan, and other parts of the world? Like, because they usually say what countries it's opened in.
Typically, this kind of movie doesn't do super well in like the Chinese and Japanese markets, because why would they watch our shitty interpretations of their traditional cinema when they can just watch their own movies?
We put the handsome actors in it.
Yeah, maybe they have podcasts too. That happens. This was great. I don't know. I don't even know. Like, you couldn't do. Like, I want a G.I. Joe origin movie with, like, the sailor guy and just a stupid movie, like a cartoon, kind of like the one from 2010 is almost that. It's bordering on it. And the one from 2013 or whatever, almost that. But none of them ever quite reached like a level of silliness and campiness or schlockiness that would make this fun.
They never reach the level of Baroness's accent.
Yeah, like there's always one character in the movie that I'm like, that guy, he's got it. And like I think Channing Tatum was pretty good. I think like Channing Tatum in the original, Scarlet in the original, and what's his name? Oh God, what's the name of that actor? Dennis Quaid? Is that a guy?
Yeah, that's a
guy, right? If he's in the first one, he plays General Hawk, and I think he had it with the like, all right, men, time to do an American mission. Like that worked. I don't think any of the bad guys worked, especially Christopher Eccleston, who notoriously hated it. But then in the second one, Cobra Commander was great. The heroes were all really nothing, and the ninja stuff was good. So like, just put all those pieces together. And Baroness from this one, and then you got a movie.
Yeah, I buy that.
Probably not gonna happen though. I feel like we might. I hope we'll wait a couple of years before we do one. Like I think this would work as a TV show, maybe. G.I. Joe started as one. Focus on more characters. Have it be kind of silly. I don't know.
I'd watch it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like what they made the new Masters of the Universe thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something a little closer to that. Where it's like very just like all super animated and like going in on giant weird muscle men.
As a child of the 90s, I simply do not care about all these 80s nostalgia properties.
I honestly think most of my liking and enjoyment of G.I. Joe comes from my enjoyment of Venture Brothers, which parodied G.I. Joe and then kind of made me appreciate G.I. Joe. So it's everybody has their own weird in. Not everybody, but there's a lot of weird ins for these. But in speaking of movies, and not all of them will be movies, guys, do you want to get to our classic catchphrase of the next thing we do? I already forgot what it is. What is it? Recommend classic segment.
Forget the word segment?
I did. I forgot the word segment, and it led me on this path. Do you want to get to our classic segment? DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. So I'm going to begin by not recommending Sexy Beasts, because it's not what I wanted it to be.
That's a disappointment.
What is it?
It's like... So it's this like blind date reality dating show thing where it's like we'll put someone in movie level makeup and see if they can find love based only on personality, and it's kind of that, but it isn't. I would say so. There's 6 episodes. They're like 22 minutes each. I would say there's an episode with the panda. Watch the episode with the panda because the girl's out of her fucking mind. She's so crazy.
Oh my god! Is one of the people in the makeup Carl Havoc?
No.
Oh, he's a real handful. This is another I think you should leave thing.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't.
I really need to,
I don't want to be around anymore, Nando.
Joke's on you. I saw this one because I watched the first episode of season 2.
Damn it.
Joke's on you. Much better than Carl Havoc.
Much better. I mean, I would love to see Carl Havoc on a date. What would he do? Flip over some tables? Steal some fries?
I think the thing that made me die from the first episode of season 2 of I Think You Should Leave was Coffin Floppers.
Yeah.
Coffin Floppers destroyed me.
Coffin Flop. A lot of people say Coffin Flop isn't real. They say, why are the bodies look so... Why aren't they pale? It's because they put makeup on it. Why do they put makeup on the whole body? It's out of respect.
Why? They say we can't show them naked when they flop out of the coffin. They ain't got no souls. It's okay. Also, Carl Havoc. It would be so funny if that was what Sexy Beast was. If one person put on all that fucking dolphin makeup and one person came out as Carl Havoc and just stood there. It just stood there for a couple of minutes. I was like, I'm not doing it. And then they just left, and that was the whole show. I want that so badly. Oh, I love Carl Havoc. He was a bit of a handful. So you're not going to recommend Sexy Beasts.
No, I'll just say watch the episode with the panda. It's like 20 minutes. It's probably worth your time. But besides that, it's pretty bad. I am going to recommend, they dropped season 3 of Explained on Netflix, the Vox Explained show. Not all at once. They like do episodes like in a weekly format. But for those of you who don't know what Explained is, they take like a topic and they do like a 30-minute deep dive on it and like explain the topic. And some things are like really mundane, like fashion and K-pop, and some of them are like more sciencey, like sugar. They did one the last season that it came out, which was 2019. They did one in like mid 2019 on like, it was called The Next Pandemic, and pretty much exactly what they said was like exactly what happened with COVID. So that was like freaky.
Inside job, Fox.
Yeah, right. But they were like, this is what it would look like, and we should really be worried about a pandemic happening. But whatever, and then it happens like 6 months later. So that was weird. But it's a really good show. It's really engaging. Has like a lot of different topics. I think some of the ones they're doing this year are they're doing a climate one. The one on sugar's good. They're doing one on dogs. Doing one on chess. They're doing one on like the flag and like patriotism. Like that one will probably be super interesting.
Who's in charge of this show?
It's Vox.
How do they?
Vox Media.
Do they just open up the dictionary and pick a word? There's no consistency between these things.
Nah, it's the idea. It's just like you could deep dive on a topic,
That's
right?
wild.
So I find it fascinating. Yeah. Explained on Netflix. And then I want to say, Nando. So Michelle listened to the Marvel Palooza podcast that we did, and you were talking about the mole, and she like freaked out because like she didn't know that anyone had seen the show before, but got really excited when you were talking about the mole because she said she watched that show like crazy in high school.
It was really good, and like not everybody I know has seen it, but enough people have seen it that it was like in the pre-internet, like if there were Reddits and stuff around then and it was like a bigger thing and tweeting was a bigger thing, I think it really would have caught on and been like the fun mystery of the day. But I also think if they did it today, they'd figure out who the mole, everybody would know who the mole is. Like we'd figure it out in like 10 minutes. So.
But like that's what she said, where it was like she didn't know anyone who like watched the show, but she watched it like religiously. So when you mentioned it, she was like, "Oh my god!" So
yeah, nice. I'm glad there's more mole heads out there.
yeah,
more moloids as they were, mole men and mole women, mole people. I don't know.
So yeah, that's all my recs for this week.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Diggins, what about you? Got anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. I watched a film this week.
Ooh, a film.
It's another one off the Criterion channel. And in fact, like the one I
we get it, Diggins. They're paying you. We get it.
I wish they were paying me, DJ. I'm paying them. And like the one I wrecked 2 weeks ago that was a neo-noir. This is a film noir from the earlier period. But it's a really good one. It's called Odds Against Tomorrow. It stars Harry Belafonte in a rare non-musical role, although he is a nightclub singer and does get a scene where he plays a couple songs drunk off his ass, and it rules.
Harry Belafonte, is he the hipster in Iron Giant? Who is that? Is that the same guy? I can't remember.
I'm gonna say no, because Harry Belafonte is not white.
Yeah, Harry Connick Jr. I always get their names confused. I don't know why. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Anyway, so it's a film noir. It's about three guys, a former corrupt cop, an ex-con, and a nightclub singer who's deep in debt to a mobster, decide to pull off a bank heist together. But the plan is complicated by the fact that the ex-con is super racist, and the nightclub singer is black. So it's just a really, really well constructed noir. Very much along, putting words together is difficult. Just every scene has this kind of like hard bitten quality to it. That feels like it came like right out of like a mystery novel. And it also builds on that. It's very much about kind of race in America, which is very unusual for a movie from the 1950s. So that makes it kind of stand out from its contemporaries in a very interesting way. Also, DJ, tight 90.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
So it's just...
You know my number.
It's just a very well-constructed heist movie where it's like it all builds up to them pulling off the heist and then seeing how it goes wrong. So I very much... If you have any interest in like old film noir, if you don't mind black and white, and you just want to see like a real classic heist movie, not like a heist movie like Ocean's 11, but like a... You know what I'm saying. You all know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I really recommend it. It's called Odds Against Tomorrow.
Nice. I'm going to recommend, I want to say, I played a game this week called Everybody Golf. You ever play that?
I haven't played it, but I've heard really good things.
Fun little simple
same.
golf game. Me and Hannah were looking for something to do, like a two-player game. We really have beaten Gungeon to the point where there's nothing left. There are no more worlds to conquer. It's just great. It's a really fun game, and it's a great two-player game. But so we wanted something new, so we ended up with that. So, nothing but good things to say about that. I will also say, after I watched this movie, I went home and watched the first episode, finished, because I had started it, and I liked it. The first episode of the show called Warriors with Andrew Koji. He's great. That show is cool. It's a little HBO-y for my taste, in terms of, like, the scenes all take place at brothels and stuff. But when they're doing fighting, the fighting's awesome. And I just don't understand why the people with $80 million for their movie don't make it look like this. But, hey, they must have their reasons. So that's fun. It's on HBO, so it's like... I know it was originally a Cinemax show, but it is on HBO. And there's 2 seasons of it. Probably going to keep it up. My big one, though, speaking of HBO, I watched the documentary about Woodstock 99, and it was fascinating.
Oh.
Have you watched it, DJ?
No, I've heard about it.
It's The Ringer. It's like their documentary. Yeah.
The Ringer.
And it's great. It's Woodstock 99 is like Fire Festival level disaster. And I grew up in the 90s, and like I remember that this happened kind of, and I remember hearing about it on like I Love the 90s, but all I remember getting from it is that it was lame. Like it wasn't a cool Woodstock like Woodstock, but I didn't know how much it was a like nightmare. And it's a nice, like, speaking of tight 90, it's 90 minutes, which is great, but also it's one, which is my new thing. Like, I like documentaries, but I'm tired of 6-episode Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's reasons why your Jinxes and your McMillions, whatever, like, why they think it needs to be 6 episodes. But I prefer something I can watch and be done with. Like, that's why I couldn't get through QAnon. Interesting as it was...
Right.
But like that I was able to watch, and like it's fascinating how much it's about like white rage, and like how that was like a thing that was kind of stirring up for no good reason, or for good reason, not like good reason, but like, well, kind of. That's like the point they make. Is like, we're not really sure why this happened, except for that they thought it was what you were supposed to do, but they didn't have anything to be angry about, so they just got really angry at everything. It's very interesting. So yeah, definitely watch that. I will say there is a movie in theaters now that you can watch called Old, which is super late, so I don't want to talk about it completely, and like, but man, I didn't, my review is it's as M. Night Shyamalan as M. Night Shyamalan movies have ever been, where like, there's some bits where you're like, this is a nice shot, and this is a creative kind of ambitious shot, or this as a story is not terrible, although he didn't write the story. It's adapted from a comic that I think probably does the story better, because it leans more into the themes. But regardless of that, as a horror movie and like suspense and whatever, it gets some of those things right in interesting ways. Obviously, the island shit makes no sense, which is fine. Okay. Like, by the time you get to the end of the movie, where, like, like, just time has passed and stuff, like, the end of the story, you're like, all right, I didn't really need to know what was going on at the island, because that's not what it's about. Not even, like, spoiler, but just, like, the story is about, growing old and stuff. It's not Lost. Except then, for 10 minutes, the movie does Lost, and it explains everything that happened. And it's unsatisfying and fucking boring as hell. And it is the most M. Night Shyamalan of M. Night Shyamalan movies I've ever seen, in that there's a good movie. It's not really good, but like a done movie that tells a complete story, and it's fine. And then he's like, but actually, don't you want to know what was causing this and why they were doing it and how they all... Like, nobody cares. That's not the point, M. But also, it's some of the dialogue. Here's what I think is interesting about M. Night Shyamalan. Things I'm kind of learning about him. I hear he's a very meticulous writer, and he doesn't allow a lot of ad-lib and stuff like that on set. This movie feels, some of these performances are so like, oh no, this island is making us old. Like, it's just, it might as well be like nothing. It might as well be Chuck E. Cheese robots. It's amazing. Not to say all of them are like that, but what I kind of learned from him is I don't think M. Night Shyamalan is a good actor-director. And I think that's a problem in a lot of his movies. Mark Wahlberg in The Happening, the Avatar kids, Split, Bruce Willis, all that stuff. Like, a lot of the just individual actors either are good or bad, and then they just do their thing. But, like, it doesn't, like, he got famous making movies about Bruce Willis, a block of wood, and a kid that, like, speaks in little child riddles about dead people. Like, he's not, like, I don't know, just like when characters are getting agitated and talking to each other, they do not sound like people talking to other people. And it's very annoying. And it makes the movie very silly at points where it's not supposed to be silly. Overall, not the worst movie I've ever seen, but real dumb. And the ending is awful. Just flat out one of the dumbest things. But anyway, and they don't say in the movie there's something wrong with this beach line. For some reason, that was cut together for the trailer. The mom says there's something wrong with the kids or something like that. And I'm assuming at some point she says the beach. And then I watched the trailer again, and she says that. And she says there's something wrong with... And then they cut to a different shot of, like, a rock. And then she says, this beach. So you don't actually see her say that. So it's like, was something they made for the trailer. But very disappointing. I was waiting for it. I really was going to turn to Hannah and go, yeah! I did it! Like, quietly, but, like... but they didn't do it.
You mean how, like, whenever I see a movie with someone and they say the name of the movie in the movie, I turn to that person and go, that's the name of the movie.
You would blow, like, your mind would, they say old so many times. You're so old. I just got old. Old.
I typically don't do it when the title is just, like, a word like that you could reasonably expect a person to say.
See, I think this movie deserves it. I do think there was a lot of things that happened where a character would say something and I'd be like, whoa, like as a joke because of how, I don't know, like schlocky it is. It does, what it feels like, and we were kind of figuring this out after we saw the movie. It feels like watching a murder mystery because all of the characters, like this, they're on the beach, makes them old, and then like the problems arise from that. So it's like this character who is already old, has fallen ill. And this thing body washes on shore, whatever. What it does sound like at the end is like a murder mystery where every so often a character just opens an envelope and reads like, John is missing or something. And then everybody runs over to the corner of the beach where John is on. And then another character, like after 10 minutes has passed, opens their envelope and says like, I found a secret passage or something. Neither of those are things that happen in the movie.
Is it like 10 minutes or is it... 4 months.
That's a great question. Also, like, and I knew, like, I only think the science of what's going on and, like, the specifics of it matter because at the end of the movie tells us that it matters for 10 whole minutes of just, like, bullshit explaining. So I was going to let it slide because it's like, well, I mean, we didn't really know what was going on. So maybe it was, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe it was science, maybe it was magic. Who knows, right? But when you do find out, none of it makes any sense. And it in a way where characters are saying things to each other, where they say something, where like they make a statement. Here's a real basic thing that I don't think should give anything away. They find a dead body, the body decomposes really fast, right? Or even before that, they find a dead body and the dead body is dead, and someone probably is like, they aged even quicker than you'd expect. And because they decompose really quickly, and then someone's like, why aren't there fingernails or hair growing? And then someone else is like, well, if the body's dead, those things wouldn't keep growing. Maybe that's why. And I was like, I don't think that's how that works, because that still happens normally. That doesn't make any sense. And the answer is whatever. Characters say things that as a human being that lives on Earth are not true. but with the like confidence that it should be, and it makes the movie watching experience weird. I don't know. Some of the actors are good. Liked Rufus Sewell, whatever his name is, the bad guy from Knight's Tale. He was good. And I liked the dad from the whatever it is, Mozart in the Jungle guy. He was good. The wife
Gail
was
Garcia
fine.
Bernal.
Yeah, liked him a lot. Actually, the wife was fine, although her French accent was kind of silly sometimes. Just because, again, a lot of these actors were saying things that didn't really sound like things people say. And sometimes their like American, just plain old accents would make that seem really weird. And I think with her, I was willing to give her room. If the movie was full of actors saying normal things and like speaking very well and with emotion and feeling and direction and stuff, I'd be like, she would stick out. Or I guess I'd give her a little bit of extra space because I'm like, well, I mean, this character is clearly from France or something. So, that is how it sounds when she's, just trying to speak English or whatever. But something about the way that she said her weirdly written lines was very weird. I went back and listened to our Glass episode just because I was curious, because I had a thought about this maybe like last week. And I was like, I wonder what we said about him. What's the deal with M. Night? And what I realized is we were right 100%. And it is just like he needs another writer or someone. He needs somebody to tell him no to things. Obviously, the thing that they should have said is at the end, just be like, don't reveal all the secrets or whatever. Like, that is a bad thing. And he did it anyway, and it stinks. But again, this movie probably costs no money to make, and it makes $1 bazillion or whatever. So I'm sure it'll, there will be no point of reckoning where he has to think it through and maybe get someone to tell him no. But yeah,
Nando,
cinematography great, everything else stupid.
Nando, how do you feel about this being the first M. Night Shyamalan movie ever that is not filmed, any part of it, in Philadelphia?
Don't love it, except characters are from Philadelphia. They do say that they're like, where are you from? I'm from Philadelphia. And I'm like, really? Where do you work? At the Philadelphia Natural History Museum? Okay. But whatever it is, there is Philadelphia in the movie anyway. So we have nice sandy beaches. We have rocks. We have beautiful hotels. All those things are normal things.
Sandy beaches on what? The Delaware River?
The Schuylkill. Yeah, they're nice sandy beach. It's people fish. It's a real sand and muck and sand. But yeah, I think the old movie is worth seeing eventually because it's so weird. And I think the memes are fun, and I appreciate the ambition of M. Night Shyamalan. It's the same thing as last time, where it's like, I like the author, kind of independent director. I respect it so much. I just wish this movie was better. Like, I wish it wasn't written like a play. It's weird, but it's great. So yeah, that's Old.
That's Old, everybody.
You want to hear something really interesting about Old? The titles are just the words with more, like the word, like, whatever the actors' names are. Gail, what's his name?
Bernal.
Garcia Bernal, right. I always get him, not get him mixed up, but I'm always like, anyway, Gail Garcia Bernal, his name big on the screen, and then the serifs on the letters get longer and longer. As if that's what it means when words get older. Like, it's very silly. But yeah, so all good stuff. Anything to plug?
Just the usual for me. You can find my newsletter at alittleperspective.substack.com. And I will once again stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/thisisanodname. Probably this upcoming week, because I will be back in New York City, and it's much easier for me to stream there.
Nice. Cool. DJ, plug your podcast, or I will talk about Old for another year and a half.
Roses and Rejections on the Pop Break Network. Check us out, wrapping up The Bachelorette with Hometowns and Fantasy Suites next week, and we'll be covering, we go over Sexy Beast a little bit. We didn't love it. And F-Boy Island, which starts up this week.
I'm so mad.
Very good. I know, Diggins.
Just like it's a moral failing,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
if the G.I. Joe movie can have the moral courage to say fuck.
Yeah, that's a great point. They do say fuck in this movie, and yeah, F-Boy Island won't. Jeez. Yeah, I got videos coming out and stuff. All kinds of great videos, and I'll be streaming too. All that stuff. Great stuff. That's all I got. I don't even know what the videos are on. I know what they're on. It is late. But yeah, this has been great, you guys. Next week, what are we doing next week?
Jungle Cruise.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Starring Dwayne the Tooth Fairy Johnson.
Yeah, teeny tiny hat Dwayne Johnson. Can't wait.
He's got the tiny hat, and Dave Bautista's got the tiny glasses.
Yeah! Together, they're one small man. Like a big, giant, small man.
They're one together. They're one giant man who wears things that are too small.
Yeah. When is that universe going to cross over one of these days? Here's hoping.
Yes.
Well, guys, this has been great. Until next week for Jungle Cruise, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Woo-hoo.
Good night. We love you.